Hey, folks in the chat, if you can let us know really quickly if you can hear us, can you see us, all that good stuff, would appreciate it.
Mic check.
What's up?
All right. I'm just minimizing the chat here. What's going on, nation? Y'all ready to party?
It looks like a party with these hooligans.
Speak for yourself, bro.
Oh, you guys know each other too?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Something like that.
I was just asking them, Rev, do you watch NASCAR, man?
No, I don't.
Oh man. I'm starting to get into it a little bit and I don't know who to root for. And everybody I asked, they're like, nah, I used to watch it, but I don't watch it anymore.
I used to
Folks in the
watch it when I
chat,
was a kid.
yeah. That's why I was telling them Bill Elliott's the last one I really rooted for. That's how long it's been. So if anybody in the chat watches NASCAR, if you could let me know who you follow. So guys, we are here to celebrate tonight, but we're not here to celebrate me graduating. We're here to celebrate a lot of different things. Six Shooter just hit his numbers. He's getting ready to be monetized. And I believe old Rev's going to be celebrating Jesus here, if I ain't mistaken.
Oh, always.
Always, man.
Yeah.
So just a fair warning. I know that turns some people off, but tonight that is on the menu. Just letting you folks know. And we're going to be taking questions in the chat. Anybody in the chat, anything you want to talk about. You know, we really need to be talking about, I think, not to be a party pooper, but Israel. You guys seen what's going on with Israel?
I seen it the other night. I didn't been keeping up with it, but I saw it was in a motel and like saw it.
And it don't look like it's getting any better over there either.
No, it's getting worse.
Worse.
I don't
and
know what I
worse.
was thinking mentioning it. I mentioned it on Twitter. I don't know why Twitter. And, you know, something to the effect of pray for Israel or something. And they came after me, man, with pitchforks. People are not loving Israel over there, man.
Yeah, Twitter is the one media platform that I'm not on.
Well, you're doing yourself a favor.
Yeah, me neither.
Let me see here. Biblical, Lance Webb said. Lance, are we talking about Israel? What's going on in Israel right now? Because I've had several people tell me that it's coming straight out of the Bible, man.
Yeah, we need to stand with Israel. It says he gonna bless those that bless Israel and curse those that are cursed Israel.
Yeah. Mad Max, I agree.
So far, we've been doing pretty good with that, but under our new leadership, I don't know how things are going to go.
Yeah. I just read an article earlier where he has he's officially, I don't know what took so long, but he's officially called the leaders of both, and he's trying to get them, I guess, to calm down. But in my opinion, Israel's just getting tired of having rockets fired at it, man. You know, you can't fire rockets at somebody and expect nothing in return.
I would too. If somebody was shooting rockets over into the homestead, we would be saddling up.
Would you now? What would you be going after them with, Six Shooter? By the way, let me just say this real quick, Six Shooter. I think it was on Facebook, man. I saw you with a python. Is that right?
Yep.
That thing was sweet, man.
Yep. It's the 4-inch barrel. I always wanted the 6-inch, you know, exactly like Rick Grimes got, but I ended up finding the 4-inch for a pretty good deal for what they are. So I ended up snagging that up. But I would not have bought that if I knew like a year later that they was going to start making the new ones again, and then I could have got either one I wanted. So, but anyway, it is what it is. I guess maybe the older ones are still more collectible. I think it's like a somewhere in the late 60s or early 70s model.
Was it expensive?
It was I got that one for like $2,400, and they go bottom dollar 2,000 up until, depending on what model you got, like 8,000. If it's brand new in the box, all the paperwork, never been fired, you know, certain finishes, things like that, they'll go anywhere $5,000 to $8,000. But you know, mine was it didn't have the original box or the papers or anything, so it devalued it a lot, you know.
Yeah.
You know, some people will look for those original boxes and pay up to like $400 for one in good condition, so they can put it with the gun and sell it for a higher price.
Too rich for my blood, man. I mean, it's a beautiful gun.
Hold it once.
Do what?
He let me hold that thing one time.
Let you hold it like a petting zoo.
Yeah.
So, in y'all's opinion, what do we do about Israel? What does our leadership do in order for it to work out right?
We need to support them.
Yeah, I know we need to pray
support
for them.
Either way, whatever Israel decides, we need to back them.
Yeah.
And as soon as we turn our back on them fully, we're going to have even worse problems that we're already having here.
Can you imagine it getting much worse than this?
I can.
I've started to notice, like, of course, mainstream media and everything, but I've started to notice where they're kind of taking this stance against Israel. Like they're trying to convince people that, Israel, these people are terrorists,
Yep.
That's not how I see it, but a lot of people will see that on TV or hear it on the news and they'll think that's the case.
Well, that goes all the way back to Abraham.
Yeah.
If you go back into biblical days, Abraham had a son, his name was Ishmael, and he did that trying to rush God's hand because, he was promised a son, right? And he wasn't getting him, so Sarah gave him his handmaiden, and see, now we're still fighting over the same pieces of land thousands of years later. This ain't nothing new. It's been going on, and it's going to keep going on until the day the man set his foot down.
Yeah. I mean, go ahead, 6-shooter. I'm sorry, man.
I'm going to say, just from, the world's point of view, like you said, they're trying to paint them out as a bad guy. Israel doesn't go out blowing stuff up. They only get in a war in retaliation. They don't go, don't start no stuff, won't be no stuff. They don't start it. It always just falls on them, and then they have to react to it.
That's right.
Gotcha, man. Yeah, there have been now thousands of rockets, and Pat Alanian, I think, was the one that made the point earlier. It almost seems like these terrorists, that are in Gaza are trying to spark a World War III. They know there's going to be retaliation, It's like they're trying to egg it on.
See how much they can get away with.
Because they know that Israel ain't being backed.
Yeah.
We was backing Israel hardcore the last few years.
2 years ago was different.
Yeah, and now they have no backing, and all these other countries are seeing that, and they realize what's going on, and because we're not stepping up, they're stepping in, and it's gonna keep on. It's gonna keep on like that.
I'm gonna bring somebody else in. We got Tom Cruise is back in the green room here, okay? And this gentleman can tell us all about Israel. How you doing, JW? Can you hear us, man?
Boom. What's going on?
That's what I was getting ready to ask you. What's going on in Israel, man? I know you keep your ear to that. What's your take on it?
Well, let's just talk about facts or facts here. How y'all doing, 6-shooter and Rev?
How you doing?
Pretty good.
Cheers, brother. Coffee, by the way.
There you go. Well, here we have, this is biblical right here, and I'm just going to state my opinion on it. We got Israel here attacking Hamas over in Gaza. All right. And who is backing Hamas with their ammunition? You got the Smurfs, Iran. That's who we call it, our crew. That's who we call all Iran. We call them the Smurfs. All right. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we can hear you, man.
All right. So as of tonight, Gaza has been getting hammered. I'm talking about hammered now, and we got Turkey coming down to coming down to Jerusalem to be peacekeepers.
Did see that. Yeah.
What do you think's going to happen as soon as they cross that line over into Israel?
Well, I don't know the exact words. Rev would know this. Rev Orville will know this, but I think in the Bible it talks about other countries kind of piling on to Israel during this period of time. And I'm not real, I can't recite it or anything like that, Rev. But what does it say biblically about these other countries jumping on?
Well, as far as my studies, is the Antichrist comes from Turkey.
Wow.
From what I understand it to say, and that could be very true. The peace treaty, that's what you look for, because all the things that's going on in Israel, it's going to a certain point, and then when the peace talks start coming through, that's what we need to watch for. The guns and the blazing and all that stuff, that's one thing, and we're supposed to pray for them. And as far as tacking the scripture right down, I can't do it for you tonight, but I can tell you this is watch Turkey. Like the man said, like Joey W said, you got to watch Turkey and what they're doing, and then the peace treaty that comes behind it. Because, as far as things going on like that, I believe that the Antichrist is probably already alive and coming into power, because, we're not far from it, y'all.
Yeah. No, I agree with all of you folks that it's biblical. I just, I don't know the particulars. If you're going live this week, Rev, that would be an awesome video to put together, live stream.
I might check into that. Yeah.
Yeah. People have questions.
On.
I think everybody, that's been born again knows that it's biblical to some degree. They just don't realize how. Like, I didn't know that the Antichrist was coming from Turkey. Did not know that. 6-shooter, you wake up there, brother?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on it, man?
To be honest with you, I don't know a whole lot of it, so I was just letting people that know more than me go for it. But Israel is definitely biblical, and I think, like Orville says, when you start hearing the peace talks and coming up with peace treaties and stuff, that's definitely when to go on red alert.
So you think, Rev, you think that'll be the time when a leader or somebody from Turkey will step up as like a peacekeeper?
Something like that.
The world has to be in turmoil for the Antichrist to come and solve everybody's problems.
The temple, they got to build a temple in Israel. There's going to be another There's going to be another temple built for the Jewish people, for them to worship in, and it's going to be on the Temple Mount. So, and if you look into it, they've already got all the stuff for it. They're already preparation. They could probably build it tomorrow. It's just the land area. It's going to be where it needs to be, and we need to watch stuff like that, because that temple. All right, and another thing is, with the vax, everybody's saying it's the mark of the beast, right? It's not. It's not the mark of the beast, because the mark of the beast only comes in the middle of the tribulation, which is 3.5 years in the tribulation. That's when the Antichrist comes in and says, hey, I'm God. And everybody's made to worship him as God. And then that's when he sets up the mark. You can't buy, sell, trade, do whatever. Now, as far as what we're seeing in our countries now, I believe that's leading up to that to get us prepared for it, just like they prepare us for everything else. But as far as saying, I'm not taking this because this is the mark of the beast, that's false. And another thing with the mark of the beast is you're not going to be misled into what you think you're getting. They're not going to give you some shot and it's got something in it and boom, you got the mark of the beast. You're going to know exactly what you're taking. They're not going to hide it at all. It's going to be, you either take this mark or you're not going to buy, you're not going to sell, you're not going to trade. And the word of God says that if you take the mark, that you're cursed.
Yeah, that's a very good point. It's going to be a thing. It's going to be submission. You're going to be submitting to that. and you would have to know it in order to do it. But somebody did point out, they said it's still poison though. I still don't trust it, but I'm with you on that. I don't think it's the mark of the beast. I think it's just a bunch of elites playing Populous or whatever you want to call it, Sim City with us. But no, that's a great point. JW, I know that you keep your eye on that region, especially here lately. What are some of the other countries that we would potentially see other than Turkey going into or trying to go into Israel?
All right. Jordan, possibly Egypt, Syria, definitely Iran, maybe even Russia. Oh yeah.
The first question I had actually when they started firing off thousands of rockets is like, where are they getting the rockets? Because they said on the news they don't have any bomb shelters, they don't have anything. They made them out to be just like extremely poor, and I'm like, well, where's the weapons coming from? Got to be coming from a larger country, and I was wondering if it was Russia or maybe Syria or something.
Iran and Turkey. Oh yeah, because Turkey, I don't know. Can you say Muslim here on your channel?
Yeah, I don't have a problem with it.
Okay. Turkey, Erdogan is uniting all of the Muslims to go into Israel, and take it over. That it's all the countries they're going to attack. All the Muslim countries are going to attack Israel, and then when they get them all kind of wiped out, they're going to have just a concentrated part of them in Jerusalem and Judea. Okay, when that happens, when they get all compacted in there, the Israelites, that's when there's going to be divine intervention come down. Then the game's going to change. Then.
Yeah, Israel ain't big as New Jersey. You look at how
No.
small Israel is, and then all these big, massive countries around it, and it's still on the map. It's flourishing. That's God's chosen people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right. You take a look at that entire region. I was just talking about Gaza and how poor it is and everything, and then you look how they're thriving. You're exactly right. That's probably one of the many reasons that they hate Israel. They take a look at what they have. It's a jealousy thing, I think, and they're westernized to a degree.
They hate it because the Jews are promised it and they ain't. They believe that their God promised it to them, but really it wasn't promised to them. It was promised to Isaac. It goes back to Abraham. I mean, it goes all the way back to the beginning. That's why they're fighting over that land.
Yeah, they had said something about I don't remember what it's called, a holy day or something that the Palestinians celebrate, and they said Israel had done something there, and that's what sparked it. And I'm with you. I'm like, no, it's been going on for many, many years. This is just the latest episode of it, and I think Israel's fed up with it. I can't say that I blame them. JW, do you think that, or anybody else really, do you think Joe Biden will send anything other than, hey, we got your back? Do you think he'll send any military to help Israel? No.
Israel thinks Magoo is a joke. I'm talking about a joke now.
Yeah.
They don't want to have no dealings with him. No, they don't want to have no dealings with him. But check this out. I found out today that Magoo, all people love in the chat, y'all gonna love this. This is gonna make y'all's night right here. Magoo has contacted Congress, and they have agreed to send $10 million to the Palestinians over in Gaza. Oh yeah, $10 million of y'all's taxpaying money.
I'm guessing Magoo is Biden.
Yeah, that's what we call him in my crew.
You got a lot of code words over there, man, on your channel.
Man,
I'm doing it wrong. I think we call Pelosi Skeletor over here, and then Daddy Gates, and that's it. We need some more code words, guys. Throw in the chat if you don't mind.
We are covert in my crew.
Yeah, I'm thinking it took me a second. I'm like, who's he talking about, Magoo here? That that could be a lot of different people. But
let me tell you something else here real quick. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I found out today through one of my military friends. Now check this out, y'all. The Palestinian people, even the women in the past, when they was in some kind of conflict, they would carry a baby in their arms, and to be able to get the mortar to the launcher without being picked up or whatever, they would put the mortar behind the baby. They would hide, stuff it in there behind the baby just to be able to get that mortar to the launcher. Yeah. Oh yeah. Pepper Nation.
I mean, I have compassion for everybody. And of course, they're talking about kids being killed and stuff, and that it's heartbreaking. But what people I think need to understand is these terrorists, they'll fire off rockets and then they'll go scurrying back and they embed themselves on purpose. They'll go into schools, they'll go into hospitals, they'll go into places that they don't think a military would in a million years hit to retaliate. And I think Israel, like I said, they're fed up. They're just nailing them wherever they go.
That's exactly right. They're cowards.
Well, before we get off of this subject, chat, do you folks have any questions, any thoughts on the everybody's putting Magoo down, man? You should come out with a t-shirt just saying Magoo.
we got in my crew, we have this thing. We have a direct line to Magoo. Somebody in the chat wants me to show you the direct line we have to Magoo. We call this the Magoo phone. Are you ready?
Yeah. I guess.
This right here is the Magoo phone right here.
Wow.
When we want to call the Magoo, that's the Magoo phone right there.
That looks like something you would have in your shower, man.
It is.
Is that what it is?
Yes, it is. But that's the Magoo phone. So, whenever I'll get mad or somebody gets mad, they get in the chat say you need to call Magoo right now. So
I'll just add this, and then I'll let you folks add whatever you want to. I've been watching how their police officers and their military are handling. You've seen the riots and all these protests and stuff that are going on there. They don't play games, and we really need to take this approach to these communist groups that we have here in the United States. In my opinion, they're squashing it fast.
We too lenient.
We are. We really are.
We too lenient. We too comfortable. This country was born on biblical fact, right? Biblical law. Our forefathers, they come over here for religious freedom from over there, right? And then we come in and we twist it around to make it where everybody in the world can do whatever they want to do. But that's not what it meant. It meant that we could come over here and we could worship God, the true God, Jesus Christ.
Absolutely.
And when we let all these other religions come in and do whatever they want to do and then shut us down, how is that keeping the Constitution or keeping, what they set up for us as government?
Right.
We're too lenient. We need to stop that, nip it in the bud.
I hear all the time, man, people will say you got to have, freedom of religion and all this stuff, and you got to have it separated from state. Everything's got to be equal, but it's not equal for Christians. It's really not. We don't get to play by the same rules, man. And I guess that's a form already of persecution. I think it's going to get a lot worse, but I mean, you can't, they tell you can't talk about Jesus in school. My kids tell me this. But if you're another religion, man, you can talk about it all day long. It makes no sense.
That's like the ones in Congress that are of other religions. They put them up on a pedestal, and anybody that claims to be a Christian, they beat them down in the mud.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they always say don't talk about religion and don't talk about politics. Well, you tell that to Jesus, because he was a very political man. He was preaching political messages. He went against the religion that was there, the Jewish religion. He went against them and what their fathers was teaching, because they was teaching, an act instead of knowing God and living by his word.
Yeah.
You know, and that's our problem. We don't live, our nation, the United States as a nation, we do not live by the word of God anymore. And
Right.
everybody wants God's hand, but they don't want God's face. We all want the blessings. We all want to go to heaven. We all want to be blessed and have a good life, but nobody wants to live the life according to God's word to get all of those things. And that's the reason we're in this situation as a nation.
Yep. Taking our eyes off of God, man. People are just doing what they want to do, you know, and then when they need something, they'll pray or something.
Can I say something?
Yeah, man, go ahead.
It-
Is it code or are we speaking
no,
freely
no,
here?
we're gonna take it to the limit here. Our first inclination here that the world was going downhill, and Rev, you can probably agree with me, when they took prayer out of schools.
Amen.
When
Well, I
that
want to ask
happened,
you something. You know, and I agree with you 100%, JW. But listen to this. We all want prayer in school, right? We want prayer. We want the 10 Commandments back in the courthouse. We want to see all of that at the White House. How much we praying in our own home? You know, if we can't pray
yeah.
in our own house, we ain't gonna pray at school. If we can't pray at school, we ain't gonna pray at the courthouse. We can't pray at the courthouse. You surely ain't going to the White House and pray. So when we start praying at home, we try to put it on the nation, but really it's my fault. It's your fault because we don't pray at home. Kids aren't acceptable and don't even understand prayer. So how can we blame it? Which I'm not debating you. I agree with you.
Yeah.
But it starts in our households. It starts in your living room.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
It starts at the dinner table.
just to add to that, man, that's a really good point. Just to add to it, it's our fault also because we don't stand up. You know, you were just talking about how when Jesus was here, he went against the system that was already here. And back then, man, they'd put you to death for nothing. You know what I mean? And he didn't have a problem standing up and saying the truth. And not enough people doing it now.
Well, how are we so comfortable? Or in other words, how is the world so comfortable with a Christian? You know what I'm saying? Like I consider myself a man of God, right? I consider myself a Christian and I want to be a disciple of God's word and I want to follow his law. How can a room full of heathens, come on, let's just get real. How can a room full of heathens be comfortable doing whatever they're doing inside of me in a room with them? How can they be so comfortable? And how can us as the church be so comfortable with the world? Because Jesus wasn't comfortable with the world. He wasn't comfortable with the Pharisees or the modern day church at that time, you know.
Mhm.
How does that work?
Yeah, somebody just put it's a pagan society right now. I agree.
That's what it is.
I think our society is kind of because, man, we used to be focused on God here in the United States.
Amen.
You know, we were founded that way, and it's kind of our eyes have went from here to now the government. Everybody puts all of their faith in the government. You know, the government's going to take care of everything, and that's why we're a mess.
You can't say Merry Christmas no more. It's Happy Holidays.
Oh, but see, that's the thing. You can still say it. There's just not enough people standing up and saying it. They're afraid of offending people, you know?
That's right.
We need to be saying it. So to shift gears here.
I don't care who I think.
JW, I don't know if you've been keeping up with this or not, or any of the rest of you, but the attack on our food supply is what I'm going to call it for the last year plus. You've been keeping up with all that, JW? Because I got a message on Patreon a while ago, and I'm going to read it. It's from Jen. She said, my husband is a trucker and just had to make a delivery at the Walmart distribution center in Winter Haven, Florida. Apparently, the freezers went out, and they have 5 40-yard dumpsters full of rotten food. Part of me doesn't think that it was an accident. You guys have thoughts on this? I know JW probably does.
We just we're preppers, so we ain't got to worry about it. You know what I'm saying? That's the way I look at it. You know, we're preppers. We got food stocked to the rafters. But the problem is here's this is the Memphis Bridge. It's got the crack in it. Y'all know about it, don't you?
I heard a little something about it.
Yeah, I don't know that much about it, JW.
Oh, really? Well, when you go into Memphis, it's got two bridges. It's got the old bridge and the new bridge. Well, the new bridge, it's got a crack in it, and there's no trucks, nobody allowed on it now at all, and it's causing major problems. Well, with it being cracked, they stopped all the barges from going down the Mississippi underneath it that's carrying food, corn, soybeans, all kinds of resources. They're all backed up. They can't go underneath that bridge. So there's going to be another shortage right there.
It's just coincidence after coincidence, isn't it?
Yeah.
Last year we had barges going down filled with food. We had that one, was it a dock that just exploded randomly that was holding all the food? I mean, it's just crazy. It seems like an attack on the food supply to me.
Yeah.
Somebody's listening. I just got a text and they want me to ask you folks. I know y'all got some words on this about gender identity in schools and shared restrooms and shared sports teams, things of this nature.
It's an abomination.
What are your thoughts on it, and how do we get around it?
Well,
my boy goes to private school.
That's true. It's crazy. I don't agree with all the stuff. You are born what you are, but at the same time, when you're an adult, it's a free country. You can do whatever you want to, but they should not be able to push that on impressionable kids. I mean, they're growing and developing. I mean, they don't know anything about the real world yet, and they feed them all this bull crap to fit their narrative, and in my opinion, screwing them up. I mean, like I said, I don't agree with it, but if, whatever, free country, but they need to be an adult before they can do all this stuff.
The adults, and the adults are going to have to answer for it one day, but I'm with you on that 6-shooter. And I think that, me personally, I think that's where we're losing, is all of this nonsense. They're attacking the kids here in the United States. And I don't think we're reaching enough kids. I know some churches got awesome youth programs going on, but we're not getting to kids enough.
That's what the left is playing. That's their strategy. They've been playing for years.
The devil always goes for the weakest link. The weakest link is your children, because they don't know what kind of cereal they want for breakfast, let alone all this other gender stuff. God decides what you are when you're born, male or female. There is no other gender. There is male and female.
I agree.
And if you're going outside of that, I mean, come on. How come we can scientifically prove all this other stuff, global warming, this and that, all these things, but you mean to tell me science can't prove that there's only male and that's idiotic. That don't even make any sense. And as far as the bathroom deal, you let me catch one going in there with my little boy in the bathroom. I might be the reverend, but hey, we're gonna have some choice words. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna have a little something gonna go down. It ain't gonna be the same,
In a private school, you're probably good on that, but in a lot of public schools, it is happening, man.
I know it.
Yeah, and I'm the same way you are. Like when we go into a store, there's no way. For example, my daughter, there's no way I'm going to let her go into the restroom and then watch some grown man thinking whatever he thinks going in behind her. That's not going to happen.
Well, my kids are homeschooled. I got a 9-year-old and a 10-year-old daughter, and I told them, you go into Walmart, Target, wherever. If there's a man in there, he puts his hands on you, you kick that son of a gun in the nuts. Plain and simple. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. You kick him and run now.
Yeah. My
If I
daughter
got-
has a neck knife. I don't make bones about that. I'm like, if you need to use it, use it.
I got a question here for these new parents that are they're like, oh honey, we're a gender neutral family here. We're going to whatever way they get a child, if they're what they gonna name it? They gonna name it? I mean, what's a gender neutral name? I can't even think of one. Bob.
Green.
That,
Green. Come here, Green.
I mean, come on. I mean, it's getting ridiculous. I mean,
What do you guys think on the sports, like the sports in schools? A lot of, for example, guys that are signing up, because they identify a different way, are signing up for the girls' sports.
Because they suck at their own sports.
All right.
A man needs to run with the man. A woman needs to play basketball with the woman. I mean, they don't even. It don't make any sense. I mean, of course, you put a man out there running against women, and I'm not against a man or against a woman. It's not like that. I'm just saying a man is stronger than a woman in most cases. He's going to outrun them. He's going to outplay them. And you put one of them in that sport, and I mean that's crazy. It's an attack on the youth. That's all it is. Because our youth, they look up to rap stars. They look up to basketball players. They look up to sports players. And when they come in and attack these sports and, the musical influences that they have, that's making them who they are and their role models. My little boy, he can tell you every Transformer. Every one of them, right? He's got them Beyblades, them little spinning tops. He can tell you every one of them. But how many kids can tell you who Moses is? We don't take them to Sunday school. We make kids brush their teeth. We make them go to school, which they probably shouldn't even be in because you don't know what they're talking to them. But we don't make them go to church. We don't make them study the word at home. We don't make them pray. And that's what they're attacking. All of this is an attack on our children for later generations.
Yeah.
Well, one thing that I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, JW.
One thing that's Rev, how you were saying that I agree with you that it's our fault about where prayer should start. And here's another thing that these new parents, if they don't want to deal with their child, they say, "Here, play with this."
Babysitter.
Yeah. Here's some electronics. Play with that. I don't want you bothering me.
Another thing, and this is actually, I think this is up in y'all's area, 6-shooter and Rev. There was another, I think it's Oregon and Virginia, the critical race theory that's being taught in schools. Have you guys heard about that?
I haven't.
It's just proposed right now. Some of the school boards are trying to get it passed in Northern Virginia, I'm pretty sure, where they want to start teaching kids that certain groups of kids are disadvantaged and they're oppressed based on the color of their skin. And a lot of parents are not happy about it, from what I understand.
To me, that seems like the racism that they're trying to fight.
Yeah.
I mean, instead of encouraging the kids to, grow up and be something, they're just basically telling them that you're destined not to amount to anything because of, where you come from, in my opinion.
Have you heard anything about that, JW?
Mm-mm.
Huh. I need to pull that up or something. Sorry. I thought you guys had heard about it up in, I'm pretty sure it's Oregon and Virginia. I can't remember where in Virginia, maybe Fairfax or something like that.
It could be. They're crazy up there, but I will say that you don't hear a lot of news and whatever when you're doing the things.
Yeah, I got you on that. So let me see here. I don't have anything written down, so I'm gonna have to spitball this here. So in talking about schools, man, how do we, other than homeschooling, how do we fix the problem from a Christian standpoint?
We need real men and women of God to be elected. We need them in our school council. We need them at the superintendent office or whatever. All these things in school. We need godly people to go out and pursue these places and like, hey, we're gonna get a job here. We're gonna start making a difference instead of us talking about it. We're gonna do something. Because that's the problem with the whole church. Okay, the church likes to talk about what they're gonna do. They like to talk about how much money they done raised. They like to talk about this and that, but we don't ever get out and do what we need to do in our communities. And if you don't do it in your community, how do you expect? And we need to vote the people that we are voting for. You need to vote biblically, whether it be this party, that party, the man on the moon. I vote biblically. If it goes against God's word, I'm not going to vote for you. And we need to take that perspective into mind. And, I've seen so many Christians that go the other way in that area and then say that they're all right. But, I believe you're going to have to answer for that.
Rev, Redneck Prepper 606 says you now have a new subscriber.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Let me ask y'all something from a prepping standpoint. We were talking about all the gender confusion and all this stuff it's really being pushed. It's being weaponized on our kids. Do you think it has anything to do with population and depopulation? Do you think they're doing this in order, for kids not to grow up in a nuclear family and have kids of their own?
I do. Population is just so way over where the elites think it should be that they're not putting all their eggs in one basket. They're using a lot of different strategies to try to, depopulate the world. And that's just one of them, because if you got two of the same sex, then, they're not making new people. Sure, they can adopt and whatever things like that, but they're not producing new people.
JW, you got any thoughts on
that? I'm pretty much with these guys here.
All right, Rev, I'm sorry.
These kids, you get on what is it, TikTok. You get on TikTok and you scroll through there and you look at these children. Our nation is birthing these people. Okay. We're seeing all you see on TikTok, most social media, is girls shaking their booty. Come on.
You're right.
Let's call it. They on there half naked and they'll have 1 million views, right? And we see all of these things, and then they'll make their own little personal channel for you to go in and watch. And all these other things that you're seeing them doing, that just don't even make any sense. Everybody's got purple hair, and all the kids are all tatted up and got piercings all in their face and can't get a job and don't want a job. It just, when I was a child, my mom and daddy wouldn't let me go out the house if I looked a certain way.
Yeah, you're right.
Hey, you need to go change your clothes. Hey, you need to pull your pants up. Hey, you ain't gonna say that in front of me. But now our whole culture is a sin culture. And that's what we like to see. That's what we want. That's what's in our hearts. And our youth has no morals and no values because we're not teaching it to them at home.
So you're the man to ask. I was going to ask, because I have kids of my own, like you guys do. How do you, as a pastor, how do you approach your kids about social media? You just put the brakes on it entirely? Do you monitor it? What do you suggest?
Well, my boy is only 8 years old, which he had a tablet, and I seen that he was watching some stuff on the tablet, like demonic things, where they was leaving the door open and leaving meat out on the counter and trying to get stuff to come in and telling them not to do it at 3 a.m. in the morning. And I seen that. I took the tablet, and that's gone. Like, he's not watching it anymore. And then as far as like the youth in church, I tell them, because I've been there, I've done that. When I was a kid, I was thugged out. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I was the guy that had on the dope Air Forces and the fitted cap turned to the side and sagged my pants. I was that guy, right? So I've been through all of those things, and I try to use my own personal life to them and say, look, I've been there, I've done that. And as far as you watching all these things, it's not going to benefit you. You can use social media for a good thing, or you can use it for a bad thing.
It's a tool like
And
anything else, right?
exactly.
I think, to your point, I think that the demonic forces, man, Satan, and the people, that live for Satan, they're just right now, they're doing a lot better job of reaching our kids through social media than we are, trying to, like you said, trying to teach them about Moses, man.
That's right. And they don't want to see it. They don't want to see anything godly because, our nation, we're not putting anything like that in the spotlight. We all want to sell dope and drive a fancy car with 20-inch rims and have a new chain. And, it's not just the rap music, it's the country music too. You look at the country music that's going on. I mean, it's all in the same boat. All they talk about is drinking under the neon lights, right? And I'm gonna be honest with you, drinking, that's a sin. You're not supposed to be caught up in that junk. What would it look like if I was sitting here with a cold Budweiser trying to preach Jesus to you? I mean, it's not
It
gonna work.
happens. I've seen it on YouTube. It does happen. And in my opinion, just on that particular point, in my opinion, when I see that, it may actually push me away. Like if I'm interested in the gospel, if I'm not saved or something, and I see that, I don't take it as serious. You know what I mean?
That's right.
JW 6-shooter, y'all got anything?
Nah, I guess I'm pretty good. I'm fixing to have to bounce out of here and
Streaming
go
tonight,
get.
brother?
Yeah, do what?
You streaming tonight?
Yeah, I'm doing that, and I gotta go deal with something real quick here at the house. But I do appreciate you having me
Yeah, no
on.
problem, man. You're like the
He's going to call
T1000,
Magoo.
brother. You just always
He's
streaming.
going to call Magoo.
Hey, Rev, good to see you, 6-shooter.
You too.
Brother. Hope you have a great night.
Yeah, and everybody in chat, y'all. Thank y'all for
I
having me.
appreciate it, man. Have a good one.
All right.
So, guys, what do y'all think the biggest threat facing the United States right now is, prepping wise and otherwise? You
Our
think
leadership.
what's that?
Our leadership,
Our leadership?
or lack thereof.
Yeah, I was going to
I think
say
it's our society. Our society. Go ahead, Six. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say that the world looked a lot more peaceful when somebody was tweeting mean things.
Man, I sure do. I'm not gonna lie, I miss him being there. It seems like one of the reasons I think that what do you call him, Magoo Joe, is not going to support Israel is because it's something Trump would do. Seems like he just does the total opposite of what Trump would do.
Well, it seems like that they were very anti-Israel back in the other administration when he was vice president. They kind of was, it seemed to be one of the first president in history, or at least in a long time, that moved away from Israel instead of, standing with them. So I think he's still in that same boat as he was back then.
So if y'all were to give Joe and Kamala a report card, what would that look like?
Detention.
Detention, expulsion. Yeah,
Yeah.
Hell.
yeah. I
think
was
it's society.
society,
You know,
like
because the leadership is feeding off of society. You know, they post this in the news and they put that in the news, and we, as a nation of people, we just run around with like chickens with our heads cut off. I mean, you know, any little thing we get all crazy and we're panic buying and we're doing this and we're doing that, and you know, we're easy. We're
That's
too
just like
easy
the
to
gas
confuse, and we're
shortage.
too
The
yeah.
gas shortage. They reported on the pipeline, 3 or 4 days before the panic. Nobody panicked until the media told them to.
Yeah. I think some of it has to do with probably the last year and a half. People have just been getting drug all over the place, When this whole pandemic started, I'm not gonna lie, when this thing started, I thought it was bad because I would turn the news on and they're talking about they stacking up bodies in meat trucks and stuff. And then somewhere along the way I realized no, they're lying. They're making it out to be a lot worse than it actually was, and people just don't know what to believe now.
And I don't think the gas prices ain't going back down.
No.
I mean,
No.
they did that to jack them up and to keep them up, and now they're going to stay up. And as far as whoever did it, that was an inside thing. I mean, come on. Anybody can see that.
Yeah. It
Not
worked
any.
out perfectly for somebody too. With summer coming up, the masks are gone, everybody's going to want to head out of town, and now the gas is up.
Right before Memorial Day.
Right.
It always happens. The gas always goes up right before Memorial Day, and then it comes down later, a little bit. But
Yeah.
as far as, it's not coming down. The prices in the grocery store ain't coming down. The
No.
prices on your freedom seeds, they ain't coming down
I
because they
found some.
know we're willing to pay that price for them because we're too idiots, to say, no, I'm not going to do this. You're not going to do that. And, what happened to a good old, picket sign?
Mhm.
Like the
Yeah.
union, they get out there and we ain't taking this no more. And they march around whatever, but we can't do that because then we burning stuff down.
I saw a video, I guess it was a real one, I don't know, it was over on Instagram. Pat Atlantean, if he's in the chat, I think he may have posted it actually. Some poor lady was panic buying gasoline and she didn't have anything to put it in. She was putting it in a Walmart bag. She was trying to
I've
put the
seen
gas
that.
in there. And did you see that? And
Yeah.
I'm like, oh man, these are the people this is the reason they put warnings on stuff,
The Walmart bag won't work. It has to be Kroger or it won't hold.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like Food Line.
Food Line.
How about the one you see the one where the Hummer blew up or burned up before gas cans in the back of it in Florida or somewhere?
I didn't see that.
Yeah.
Well, everybody was worried about gas, but hey, I know y'all here at the Nation, I was prepped up. And I got all my gas cans full, brother.
Yeah.
My truck was full. Everything was good. Now, did I go to the gas station and make sure my truck was topped off? Yeah, but did I sweat it? No, because I knew I was good at home. And, that's where we're not as a country. Most people, they ain't prepped on anything,
The government
nothing.
take care of them, Government
Yeah.
takes care of everything. We're sitting at home watching reruns of the Waltons, and everybody
Seen
else
each
is
other.
out here swinging on each other at the gas pumps.
Yep.
Sitting in line for 4 hours. It's just that in itself is worth prepping. Prepping extra food and stuff like that because it looked like anytime there's a panic, it looks like Black Friday.
Yeah.
People are just rude and they're everywhere, man.
I know everybody in the prepping community pushes stocking food, and you should definitely do that. But I really lean hard on production because I just think you've got to be able to produce it yourself. If you're looking at any kind of long-term survival, whatever age you are now, if everything collapses in the next year and you got to live the rest of your life in a collapsed society, that stock food is only going to last so long. You've got to be able to produce it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're the man to ask about this 6-shooter. How many seeds should the average prepper have? Heirloom seeds should they have on hand?
Well, that depends. It's kind of like freedom seeds. Depends on what you think your particular needs are. But again, like freedom seeds, I don't think you can ever have too many. I mean, you can pack them up in Ziploc bags and keep them in your freezer to store in long term. But a lot of people that really live the older way, and what I'm trying to do now is heirloom seeds are really new to me. When I grew up doing garden, it was all hybrid stuff, out of the greenhouse, you buy from somebody else and all that. So I'm working on learning my own heirloom seeds now. And if you work all heirloom stuff, learn how to save the seeds right from year to year and keep growing off of that original crop, keep on and on and on, then you really won't have to stock that many, because you have enough for each year out of the crop you have this year once you learn how to manage it right. And that's what I'm working on learning now. All the tomatoes in my greenhouse are heirloom, and most of the things in there, I don't think I have anything hybrid in the greenhouse. So whatever I produce from there, I'm going to try to keep the seeds and be able to grow again next year. And I've got 2 different garden spots set up. One with some more heirloom tomatoes in it, and then the other one has hybrid tomatoes that we bought from the farm store or whatever. So I'm trying both, kind of figuring out. I started some tomato starters from heirloom seeds this year, and they grew a lot slower than I am used to. The ones that I started last year, me and Orville started some last year at the same time, and they were hybrid, and they shot up quick, where these are taking longer to get to a plantable size. So I ended up buying the ones from the farm store to be able to go ahead and plant, because they were, I'd say, probably 3 weeks slower than the hybrid starters that I'm used to.
You're the kind of person Bill Gates does not like 6-shooter.
All right. We'll see you in the morning. All right. See you, Orville. It's good meeting you.
Man, catch you tomorrow.
All right, yeah.
The 6-shooter, you are the kind of guy Bill Gates does not want around. You better be careful. He is buying up all the farmland, and he does not want people growing their own food.
Yeah.
So he's going to come knocking on your door. You might have to dust that python off at some point.
Never know.
Well, he's not the only one. We got friends out in Oklahoma and Texas. As far as buying the land, people are flooding out of the cities, buying up land everywhere. Everywhere they can get it, they're buying it up. And the problem with that is, you take all these people from the left or whatever you want to call them with their ideas, and they come out and buy up all this land, and they move out to the rural areas. Well, they bring their mentality with them.
Yeah, I don't understand that. If I had to move, it would be West Virginia or Oklahoma, probably West Virginia. But the price of land, like we looked into the price of land a while back, and in our price range, it was like this, straight up and down almost. Stuff that snakes wouldn't even go on. They don't even want no part of it. People, like you said, people are just moving out of the cities, man. Anything they can buy that's halfway flat, they're scooping it up. Houses aren't staying on the market.
People are, not everybody, but a lot of people are finally starting to get it, and they're doing that. But luckily, I'm in a place in my area around me and everything, I can still pee off the porch. So I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. So that's some peace of mind.
I'm just answering some chat here. Do you guys have any questions for these two? They're very knowledgeable, especially when it comes to the Bible, and I would say guns and homesteading. Somebody said Tennessee for me. Tennessee's pretty good. Tennessee's good as long as you're not in the city.
We know a little bit about banjos too.
There we go. Play us something. Well, you don't know the theme song to Ferris Bueller, do you? Just right off, because that's the thumbnail art.
I don't think I've ever even seen that. But
well, hey,
Orville
what you know, brother.
Orville will have to go get his guitar real quick so he can play something too.
That's what I'm talking about. It's a party now.
Yeah. How long did it take you to learn how to play 6-shooter?
To be honest, it's hard to say because I started playing with my dad when I was like 6, and I started on a mandolin. And then as I got older, I moved to a guitar, and I started picking up the banjo around 14 or 15, I think. But I just kind of, hit a few licks on it, and that was about it. But I really started playing it serious probably 4 or 5 years ago.
All right, we got somebody in the green room here. Bill, how you doing, sir?
Real good, Chief. Real good.
Oh man, we can hear you just fine.
Okay, good.
What's your take on everything that's going on around the world here, sir?
I think people realize there's no accountability for their actions, verbal or physical, and getting away with as much as they possibly can. Many are opportunists. It's just getting to be a much more violent world everywhere because they feel they could get away with it. And it's very, very, very sad.
Yeah, it is. Do you believe that it's also biblical?
Oh yeah, definitely.
That's awesome, brother.
Also, I keep my opinions and my thoughts to myself for fear of physical retaliation. I'm disabled. I'm an old vet and retired from a police department, and it's just no longer a free country. You just gotta really control your mouth and where you go, and what you say and what you do.
Thank you for your service, Bill. And let me ask you this real quick, sir. You served for the country. I'm sure it looked a lot different when you were serving. What does it make you think now that you see the country in disarray like this?
We're in big trouble. It's going to take a lot to reverse what's happened, and I don't think we might not be able to do it. If they keep the pressure on the country as the way they're doing. We might not be able to do it. I worked in I was in the military and retired full-time police and police academy instructor. I lived through the 93-94 crime bill, what happened then. I was in the detective bureau. I couldn't believe the number. My first year in the detective bureau, I worked the front desk, but basically walked people to a detective that was free. And then I took the phone calls, got as much information as I could, and got a detective to him as quickly as possible. And then I tagged along. Anyone wanted company when they went out. I couldn't believe the number of phone calls I took. I get a lot of people mad at me when I say this, but from people I actually knew. They didn't know who they were talking to, from gun clubs and gun clubs, their neighbors, and people that were supposedly in the militia turning other people in. They didn't know who they were talking to. I didn't say anything. Some of these people that called in, I knew who they were because I belonged to the same gun club. And wow. I never went back there anymore. And it's just, you really, unless you know someone pretty well, you better keep your mouth shut and keep what you got private.
That's pretty good advice.
They're gonna drop the dime on you. Virtually every call we got, we looked into. It was all unfounded. None of it was true. And we told them there's no money. You're not going to get any money. They didn't care. Just I don't know if they thought they were gonna be overlooked, down the road, if they turned their fellow people in or what. I mean, you really better know who you're talking to, and when you're in public with people, what information you disclose to them. And I get a lot of people upset with me when I say this, especially in the patriot movement and stuff like that. And they say, well, you're just trying to stifle our growth. And I said, there's a reason why the Hells Angels, the Banditos, the Pagans, and there's another one, outlaws, very seldom get infiltrated because they're very good at looking into people's backgrounds. And that's how and what happened at the Twin Peaks in Texas, they charged all those bikers, charged them with all sorts of stuff. And not one of them turned on anyone, even from another rival motorcycle club. I won't call them gang because that's not what they are, because there's a lot of good veterans that are in those clubs. And they all got the charges dropped. But I tell you what, you just look at what happened in that latest fiasco in Oregon with the wildlife standoff. How many of those people got arrested, pled out to charges, got felony convictions, and turned on others? And so that tells you something. You better know.
Honestly, that's something that I worry about. I know they come after the Second Amendment. If they ever take that away, I'm not sure how long it's going to be before we have people snitching on each other, gun owners.
Yeah, that's a big thing.
And then also with the vax and like the vax cards and things.
That's another one. My neighbor babysat the head of the FBI in a big city I don't want to mention, and he told me about what they had done in Oregon, and what they were doing. Those people there, they didn't realize. I mean, they were all on video, the video surveillance they had, and they had more people, paid informants, in that compound than they had patriots. They had patriots. These people had no clue. They had no clue. And many went to jail, and some are still in. Some are still in jail today. So that's why I quit going to public gun ranges. I pay a farmer that's got a private gun range some money every year. I call him on his cell phone, let him know me and my family's going to be there. We got a lock gate, and that's where we do our target shooting, because I don't want anyone to see what I got. And I pretty much after what happened to Chris Kyle, I don't trust anyone I don't know and know well at a gun range.
That's
what they're going to do.
That's good. That's good advice on the prepping level too, man.
Yeah,
don't tell people what you have prep wise.
Oh, God, no.
Everybody's watching.
Everybody's
watching.
I think that.
Go ahead.
I think that M. Creedmoor, he's smart. He doesn't show us any firearms. I think that's smart. I think
MD, you talking about MD Creekmore?
Yeah, I think I watch him all the time every day.
He's awesome. He'll show one every now and then, like if he gets a new pistol or something, he'll test it out. But other than that, he's got a lot more, I think, than what he shows on the channel.
Yeah, I wouldn't even show a Ruger Wrangler. I wouldn't even show that. I wouldn't let anyone know I got that, because they get so desperate. God only knows what the hell they're going to do. God only knows what the hell they're going to do. And if you go look into how that Miami 86 FBI shooting took place, on how those two guys got their guns. They used to go to a reservoir in Florida, and they go target shooting. This is honest God truth. You look this up. They were both former military, and they were honorably discharged, but they got on the bad road, and they would shoot the person with the firearms, put the body in the trunk of their car. They had two cars. Then they drive off with the car, use the firearms in a robbery that they acquired from them, and drop the car off at a different location after they robbed a bank. A lot of times they left the firearms in the vehicle. 2-3 days later, someone would say, "There's a terrible smell coming out of that trunk of that car." They take it to the police impound lot, open it up. There's the owner. He's been reported missing by his wife. And there are the guns in the front seat. If they're still there, they weren't stolen. That's how they acquired their firearms. And less than a mile away was a very inexpensive gun range. People were too cheap to join it. They shot at a county reservoir where they were allowed to shoot. Well, They saved some money, $20 maybe, and they ended up getting killed. So, if I don't know the people, I won't shoot at a gun range that doesn't have a locked gate. I could lock it behind me, or I just won't do it. I just won't do it. Because, people are very, I used to live in Chicago. They used to wait for police officers in the police parking lot to open up the trunk of the car, put their guns on. They would jump them and pull the gun away from him, shoot and kill the police officer, and take his pistol and his ammo. And the same thing happened with the Boston bombing during the marathon. Those two guys walked up to a Massachusetts campus police officer, shot him in the head while he's sitting in his patrol car, took his gun and his magazines. They did that for his gun. So if they're willing to do that to a uniformed police officer that's armed, just imagine what they're going to do to a civilian that might be shooting at a gun range by themselves. I mean, they're going to do that within a heartbeat.
Or, like if they know you have preps and a Mad Max and they're desperate or something, that people will do anything, man.
Like you saw those people filling up Tupperware or those plastic crates with gas. Well, if they're willing to do that, guess what they're willing to do inside a grocery store or a Walmart if there's a food shortage and you happen to be in there. You better have your preps so you stay away from those people. Don't go anywhere near those places.
I would say I would rush to sporting goods and defend myself, but they don't have any freedom seeds right now.
The thing is, I'll tell you what, it's very hard to identify them because they're going to have a mask on and gloves. You're the one. If you end up, even if you're legal, they're still going to take your firearm and arrest you, or take you in for questioning. And this is why I always carry 2 or 3, because if they take one from me, that's all right, because I got 2 more. And I'll be armed when I walk out of the station.
This is part of, I believe, the assault on the Second Amendment. They haven't completely taken it away yet, but if you're ever in a situation where you have to defend yourself and you have to use it, it's almost like you're a criminal at that point until you prove your innocence. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, that's why you better have video. But I carry those. I carry 2 of these. I'll just see them. 2 of these on me when I leave the house. When I go in the car. When I walk the dog, I only carry 1. They're fully loaded with everything I need. Timber pepper blasters. I love them. I swear by them. Cold weather, windy weather, they work. You got to shoot both barrels, because you put it back in your pocket, you're going to contaminate yourself and you're going to start tearing up.
You said to walk the dog, you have this stuff?
Oh yeah, I always take my EDC bag with me, armed with a bunch of stuff. And are
you in AOC's district by any chance?
No. I'm in Ohio. Okay. I used to live in Chicago. Got the hell out when they started parading with the Laquan McDonald shooting. I read the writing on the wall, took my pension, sold the house at a good price, and got the hell out, because I knew it was just going to get worse. It was all going to go downhill. I knew the mayor wasn't going to get reelected. He was going to drop out, and the ones that were going to replace him were just going to be gosh awful. And then the one that's in there now is terrible. So, my best advice is vote with your feet, get what you can, get the hell out. And many of my relatives very resentful I did that. They're very resentful I did that. I fled. I basically fled a war zone. It wasn't safe. Safe. But
you realize we are probably all on, including the people in the chat, we're probably on so many lists right now. Well, Big Brother probably has us on so many lists, man.
I'm not worried about a list, because there's going to be so much going around. They're not going to get to a list. You can be on whatever list you want, as long as you don't, display a weapon on social media, and you don't say anything stupid. You don't say anything that could be threatening harm to yourself or others. You're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. And you can't say anything negative about the people in power now. Otherwise, you might get a visit. But as long as you don't do that, they first started lists with Soldier of Fortune magazine. I don't think they ever really had an NRA list. And then they wanted militia lists and 3%ers. So I'm really not when, like you say, the shit hit the fan. when that happens, they're going to be so busy. They're not going to be able to go on a list and go right down and say, okay, this guy's next. This guy's next. They're going to be so occupied. And but basically, the old police officers like myself, we've been replaced with people that, they're going to show up long after it's done, and gone. So
I agree. They can't control Seattle and Portland. They're not going to be able to control.
It's all gone. That's like that vet that got beat up. I mean, I can't tell you the first thing people do when you try to stop them, and they know if they get caught, you get them, and they're going to go to jail for a long time because the whole vehicle is full of drugs. The first thing they're going to try to do is run you over. The first thing they're going to try to do is run. They're not going to shoot at you. They're going to try to run you over to get the hell away. I don't know why the hell he got out of that vehicle. I mean, that was not smart at all. Well, put the pedal to the metal, and if they could ID me, they could ID me. If they can't, they can't. But the last thing I do is get the hell out of the vehicle. You're a lot safer in that vehicle. But the only thing I'd have to say, the only thing I get a lot of people upset with me when I say this is I see these people. I used to shoot Camp Perry for over 25 years. I say, you got all these expensive weapons. What happened? Any shooting indoors, in your home, or out of your home, justified or non-justified, the police department is going to take that weapon until it's justified as a justified shooting. Now, if it's in a big city, that may take a long time. That could be 6 months. You got an expensive weapon that's gone. It could be an AR-15 with all these optics and stuff, or a Wilson Combat 1911. That thing is gone for 6 months. So you better have some others put away. If you now a grand jury is going to say it's a good shoot, you get the weapon back. That's fine, but that could be months down the road. So you better just not have all your money tied up with just like a rifle, pistols. You may better have a few of them, so in case you have to rely on the other one while they clear you. Now your CCW and your permits are still good till they clear it. Now, if they find you guilty, they pull all that, but you don't for God's sakes, they're going to take it. And
well, let's see, 6-shooter and Rev, are they taking y'all's guns?
I'm taking my guns.
There you go.
If you're involved in a shooting, they will take it.
Well, I'm not going to turn myself in.
A piece of paper.
There's just
if
one.
If something was to go down, as far as I'm out in public and I had to use my firearm. If that was a situation, I'm not just going to turn myself in. You're going to have to come find me, brother.
No. So what I'm saying is, when the police investigate a shooting, they always take the firearm that you use that you connected with the target with, basically, and then they're going to give it back to you once you're cleared. But they're going to hold it. So just don't rely on one gun for everything. You better have some others while they take that and clear you. Now, it's the same in a home. Someone breaks in, you shoot yourself in a home. They're going to take that firearm till you're clear to that shooting. So these people, I have nothing wrong with AR-15s. Right? I own a few, and stuff like that. For God's sakes, if you got an easy shot, use the cheap gun. Use the cheap gun. Don't use the most expensive one, because you're not going to see it for a few months. And but a lot of gun makers and people get real pissed off at me when they're saying they're going to take that. You're going to get it back, but it's going to be a while. And so just remember that they're not going to take it for good, but they're going to take it for a while, and until you're clear to the shooting. So that's why I always carry 2 and 3 with me, and 2 when I go out. And because once you go to a station, they're going to let you out. I guarantee you, their relatives and their friends are going to be at the station. They're going to be at the station to greet you when they hopefully they towed your car, because it's going to be destroyed. If you go back to it, but they're going to be there to greet you, and so you better have something with you. Peaceful
Warrior in the chat says, "Who only has one gun?"
Right.
Peaceful Warrior. Believe it or not, there are preppers out there that don't have a gun.
Right.
I don't know how that's possible. Me personally, I wouldn't want to prep a bunch of stuff up and not be able to defend the stuff I've got prepped, in a Mad Max, but that's just me. But yeah, most people that I know that own a firearm own more than one.
Right. That's a good idea. That's a good idea.
Well, if you was involved in a shooting, whether you was protecting yourself or your goods or whatever, you going to jail.
Well,
You know, if they catch you, they come and they, like you said, you know, you're guilty until proven innocent in that situation, and it's really nothing you can do about that. So,
if it's
the best thing is to be aware of your people that you're in contact with, and like you said, you got to watch who you tell with what you got.
Yeah, you're right. If it's a good shoot, we're not going to hold you. We wouldn't hold anyone if it's a good shoot. We could see plain and clear it's a good shoot. Hell, we'd have half the police, half the jail filled up then.
Well,
nowadays they're gonna hold you.
Yeah,
you know, the way the society is now. Yeah, go ahead, John.
It just depends on where it's at now. It seems like in some cities, even when you defend yourself constitutionally, you're still the bad guy. You know, it depends on what color you are, who you shot. You know what I'm saying?
Right. You better not be wearing a MAGA shirt that day.
Well,
for real.
See, this shirt. Yeah. This is what retired police officers wear. This shirt right here, because we're smart enough not to wear anything else. It says nothing. Says nothing. The hat I wear is a disabled vet hat. That's all I got. You don't attract problems. Viking preparedness. What's the guy's name?
PJ Fox.
Yeah, Pastor Fox said a prudent man doesn't look for trouble; he avoids trouble. He's right. He hit that nail right on the head. You can avoid trouble. You can avoid it. Sometimes trouble will come at you, no matter what you say, no matter what you do. They're still coming at you. You have no choice. You have no choice. Now in some cities like Portland, Seattle, you're probably going to get picked up. Old place I used to work or where I'm at here, they're going to kick you out, and they're going to say, "You get a grand jury indictment, we'll let you know." Yeah, we're going to let you know, and we're going to hold the gun you used that you hit the target with till it's cleared by the grand jury. Whatever else you got, we don't care. Whatever, that's why
they arresting preachers for preaching the gospel in the pulpit. They'll arrest you for shooting a person.
Well,
and as far as me, I'm a pastor and a Christian and a 30-year-old white male. I'm going to jail.
Well, they're
gonna lock me up.
That's the truth, man. I was gonna laugh, but that's the truth.
Yeah,
that ain't even funny.
That the one in Canada got arrested, but I can't say anything about Canada. I think that's gone. That's pretty much gone. I mean, I think it
was happening here too. It happened in Florida at the beginning of the pandemic. It's happened in California. It's happening, and it's no telling how many that we ain't even heard about because the news won't report on it.
That's true.
And things that's going on like that. So, I mean, if you got to pull it, you better pull it smoking.
Right.
And when you pull it smoking, you better have the Lord on your backside right here.
We got a question, guys. Mom Survival asks suggestions on how to keep a boomstick safely in your bedroom with little ones around without a safe.
That's a really hard question to answer because it's a lot of variables. And if she's in the chat here, clear it up. Are we talking a long gun or are we talking a handgun? Because that makes a difference. It also makes a difference what style it is, if it's a handgun, if it's a revolver or an automatic. The kids' age depends too. Are they, not
trained
walking
trained
yet?
with the gun.
Not walking yet, a toddler, or are they 4 foot tall? Can they reach the tall shelf? Handgun. All right, so again, I don't really recommend. I recommend, if any way possible, getting one of those.
She said handgun.
Yeah, like a smart or quick safe. That you can identify as by a card or something like that. Is what I highly recommend. But if you don't have one, if it is a automatic, I would say, like I said, depending on the size of the kids and everything, if they're not walking or not tall enough to reach in any way possible, put it on a higher shelf. If not, then try to put it in a drawer or something. And
I'd say the age makes a difference.
Try to have the magazine out of it and maybe in a different location if you're storing it there. But if it's like at night and you're worried about somebody breaking in, maybe you can have the magazine closer to you. Or, I mean, it's really a loaded question. It's really hard for me to answer because, you could maybe put it under your pillow or something, where you don't worry about them coming in and getting in the drawer or something, and things like that. But it's really hard to have it child safe and accessible at the same time without a safe.
Yeah,
that's kind of some on that.
Best place for your handgun is on your person.
There you go. Bill, do you have anything else to add? The green room is packed.
Okay, I ever since they came out with the fanny packs, I've been made fun of ever since day one. They came out with them. I never wore them that way. I hooked two of them together, put the pistol and a couple mags in one, the extra spare mags in the other, or my police ID with the spare mags in the other. Wore them that way. Always attached a. Now I got a rechargeable floodlight you get at Walmart for like $15 by where they sell the light bulbs. I got the. Let me get one. I got the. Get this. Got the $1.18 dog leash. I run this through the handle loop and put it on the mobility bag. Got all sorts of stuff in the mobility bag. I got mine next to the bed. My wife's got hers next to the bed. That's it. We got the cell phone we each got the cell phone on each side of the bed on the nightstand. Always identify your target. If you're worried about people, other family members, just walking in the house, get yourself one of those real low tech light beam alarms. So someone breaks that beam, it goes off. And put the alarm thing on your nightstand. Kid walks in the bedroom, it's going to break that beam. Your alarm stand's going to go off. The kid walked in the bedroom. The shotgun we have next to our bed, 20 gauge pump from when I was a kid in high school, condition 3. Check to make sure it's empty. Close it, snap the trigger. If you're worried about breaking the firing pin, put a dummy round in there, an A-zoom dummy round, snap it on that, load up the tube, put that next to the bed. That's the one you really want to use with buckshot. I use 4 buckshot.
Hey man, don't worry about that fanny pack. The Rock wears one.
We're right. And
I magazine, man.
I wear them cross-eyed because if you wear them along your waist, you can't get to it when you're sitting in the vehicle. Can't get to it.
Yeah, but if you put it on your waist, Bill, the ladies will be chasing you, I think.
It ain't gonna fit now. It ain't gonna. I got 2 of them hooked together. It'll probably fit. I put 2 of them, but I'll have the ammo pack at my small back and killing me. So I wear them crosswise if I wear that. But I use the Maxpedition, side bag. I got 2 of them, and I got the 365 in one, 2 10-round mags, 2 15-round mags, and other stuff. The other one, Ruger SR9C, 2 10 rounds and 17 round in there. Plus, non other stuff. Same stuff's in there. So if I use pepper spray, Kimber Blaster, either one is fine. Floodlight attached to both because, like they used to say, 1 is none, 2 is 1. You got to remember that. And so that's what I got when I leave the house and go in the car. And always unzipper 1, put it next to me on the car seat. Normally, if I get in a wreck, that pistol's still going to be in that bag, even though it's unzippered. And I got the other one on me in case, God forbid, I get pulled from the car. I could pull it out. So, the days when I started law enforcement, we used to off-duty carry a 38 Special J-frame Model 60. That was it, 2 speed loaders. It's not good anymore. You always got 2 or more adversaries. Chances are they're going to be well armed. You're going to need a semi-automatic pistol. And you're going to have to know how to hit the target with it also. Not just something you bought in a box of ammo and, okay, I got it, I'm done. No, you have to take it out, make sure you hit the target with it. So, so that's what I do. I have nothing else that's what I use because it's an initial contact in a night situation. You're going to have low light. And I think a shotgun's the best. Now, outdoors, rifle's even better. Rifle's even better outdoors. But again, every time I had to use something, it was at night. So that was where the shotgun saved my ass many times. So, you don't need to have the most tricked out thing. You just need to have something that works that you're good with. That's all what you need. Again, that's where all the gun dealers get mad at me when I say that. But you do need to upgrade your pistols. You do need a good semi-automatic small pistol that you can control in about a 365 or an SR9C or a Glock 26, something along those lines, or a Hellcat, so something like that. But just good luck and God bless and practice and do the best you can. And it's just getting worse.
Bill, man, I appreciate you being over here. The green room is packed out.
Okay.
So I'm gonna have to get somebody on here. But man,
okay, God bless you. Keep up the good work and hang in there.
Again, thank you for your service.
Oh, then I got paid good money and I had a great time. So people always ask me. Now, one thing I tell you, I tell you what. Someone ever says trust no one. You always tell them don't trust the living, only trust the dead. They never talk to you again. Talk to you again, they just avoid you. So
there's some parting advice.
Someone say that, they tell them that. Okay, right, you guys take care. God bless you. Keep the good work up.
Yes,
I watch you every day.
All right, fellas. I'm going to bring somebody else on here in just a second. 6-shooter, you want to play something?
Yeah, that'll work.
And there's some people in chat saying they want to hear Rev doing some preaching, man.
Yeah.
Play the Beverly Hillbillies 6.
I actually don't know that one.
Come on, man.
He's got stage fright.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. There's a place so dear to me where I'm longing to be. My friends at the old country church.
Yeah.
Loving women and our Sundays are spent. My friends at the old country church.
Awesome, man.
That's it right there.
Awesome.
My granddaddy used to sing that song.
I've heard that a couple times.
So we got a couple more in the green room. I'm going to bring one on. Papa Prepper's back in the green room, but I don't see him. His camera's not on yet, so we're going to have to wait till he kicks all that stuff on. So let me see here. I'm going to bring on the oh, wait a minute. He just kicked it on. He's listening.
There we go.
How you doing, man?
What's up, brother?
Oh, what's up, Papa?
Being blessed.
There you go.
Well, this is kind of funny right here. Everybody but John's a musician.
That and everybody else has a better beard than me, man. Y'all beard shaming me right now.
Your face grow a beard.
I'm pretty rough.
Papa Prepper, he's got that vanilla ice beard going on.
What?
I'm trying to have that thing out where it's broken like that.
Next time.
So, man, Papa Prepper, we've been talking about. I caught just like the very first part of your live stream, and then I had to start setting up. But we were talking about Israel earlier. What are your thoughts on everything going on with Israel?
I can't believe, honestly, what it comes down to me is I can't believe what they're doing to the Holy Land. Plain and simple. I mean, it's disgraceful. It's absolutely, that's about where I stand on it. I mean, I don't get into the whole, government aspect of it, the politics and everything. I'm just not that kind of guy, but I think it's just a shame.
You think it's biblical?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, you would absolutely just have never opened the Bible or heard of God to not think it's not biblical. I think I said that right.
Yeah, you did. So what were you talking about over on your stream, man? Because I'm going to have to go back and watch it.
Silver.
Silver.
Oh, yeah.
6-shooter just got him some silver.
Yep. first piece?
We got our first a couple weeks ago, and I've been talking to a guy. I don't know if he's in the nation or not, but Tech-Hearted Prepper.
Yeah.
The guy is just phenomenal when it comes to silver, man. I mean, he's really good, and that's where I got my advice, and he helped me out. And the more I talked to him, he said, "Hey, you want to come on and tell everybody?" Because that's a big thing right now. Because a lot of people are still, you can't eat silver, and I get that. I totally get that. But at the same time, it's like you might need something to eat, and that silver will come in handy. So we're starting out slow. We just bought some quarters, that are worth a little bit more than what we paid for them. But I think my next thing, from what I'm learning, is I'm going to be looking into some dimes. Maybe he said dimes are a really good thing to have.
Yeah, they are. Anything with silver content, but anything that's minted by the U.S. Treasury,
right?
People they chase them more, they want them more. Jed said, "How much silver should one have?" Jed, it really depends on if you're prepping to retire. I know his name's the Silver Joker here on YouTube. He's been putting silver back for years, and when he retires, he's just going to sell it all. That's his 401k plan.
Right.
Other people are just prepping up, barter here and prepping. So it just depends on what your plans are, Jed.
Like what I've learned so far is like for SHTF, barter and whatnot, you're going to want coins. Start like nickels, although they're silver, have like no real silver in them, hardly at all. So you want to start at like dimes and stuff. But now I'm just talking, I'm just picking this up. I'm not a silver guy. I'm just sharing what I've far in the last couple of weeks. So, but like SHTF, you're definitely going to want coins from what I've been told. And like if you're looking for retirement, like you said, 401k, fallback, whatever, you're like bars and stuff like that would be your way to go. I'm learning, trying.
I ain't prepped any silver.
Well,
I haven't prepped. I'm lacking in silver, stuff like that, the bartering situation, and probably communication. I need to get on the communication board as far as prepping goes.
I had somebody tell me the other morning that they were prepping for a barter item. They said they were mylaring marijuana. I'm like, well, man, that's you, brother, but I'll stick to the silver. People prep different things, I guess,
Well, it depends on the situation, man. Somebody will want that more than silver.
Say, what kind of neighborhood are you living in, man?
You one of them urban preppers, huh?
Yeah. I don't know.
No disrespect. Nobody in the chat. No disrespect. Don't hate me just yet. Get to know me first.
I don't know a lot about silver. Like I said, I'm just starting out in it. But my advice on prepping it is to prep more food than silver. If you have more silver than food, you're doing it wrong from a prepper standpoint.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's the last thing I'm prepping. Any barter item is the last thing I'm prepping, man. I know a lot of preppers go with water first because you need water. But my philosophy is I prep more food because water falls out the sky. You just got to know how to catch it and purify it and everything. So food, especially with the events going on right now, the population and everything, and random food things blowing up left and right, I'm sure that's a coincidence.
Yeah.
About as much as the gas shortage was.
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier too, man.
I listened all the way to town and back. I was trying to hurry to get back here. Rev was lighting it up there for a minute. I was like, tell him, Rev, tell him.
Yeah. Some people were in here a while ago, Rev. If you want to talk some Jesus, man, they were waiting on it.
Absolutely.
Well, main thing about that is he died for your sin. That's what he came and died for. He died for the sins of the world. John the Baptist said, "Behold, the Lamb of God that dies for the sins of the world." And, that's what they preached in the New Testament. You look at all the apostles and you look at Paul, they preached the death, the burial, and the resurrection of Jesus Christ. And without that, we have nothing. Okay? So because he lives and he's sitting at the right hand of God right now, when I lay down and take my last breath, or I hear that sound, because I believe in the rapture, you know, I'm going to live again. I'm going to live forever. You just got to pick which place you're going to live there. And, you know, we've already decided that even if you're undecided, you're decided, if that makes sense. You need to choose your reservation. But, you know, we get mixed up on all the, you know, the little things of religion and this denomination and that denomination. And look, I don't care about all that. I don't care if you're Baptist. I don't care if you're Methodist. I don't care if you're Pentecostal, which I like to say I'm Pentecostal. You know, well, anyway, that doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter. What matters is that you're born again, that you're separated from the world. They say born again means to, you know, give your life to God and be a new creature. So many times we go to the altar, or we hear a preacher on TV or whatever, and he leads us in that little 2-minute prayer, you know, fall out to me and say these words. And then you say those words and you go on about your life the same way before you said it. That's not true repentance. That's not being born again. When you're born again, you meet God and he meets you, and he comes in and he purifies your heart and he changes you, and you can live a life that you couldn't have lived before. The life I live now, would I want to go back to drinking and smoking and partying and doing all that stuff? No. Why? Because the way I live now, God has blessed me so much. You know, it's no comparison. No comparison at all.
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't think denominations right now matter so much as people just standing up and saying, you know, I'm born again. Don't really need to know what denomination people are. There's just not enough people standing up and saying it.
That's right. It starts in the home, you know, and I've been saying that forever now, and that's what I try to drill at them at church. You know, it starts at home. It don't start at the church. It starts in your home. It starts in your living room. It starts with your family. You know, out of us four right here, when was the last time we took our wives by the hand in our living room and got down on our knees and said, we're going to spend this next 30 minutes in prayer? We all sit down in the living room and turn the TV on and watch an hour and a half movie, or we binge something on Netflix, but we don't ever give God time. You know, that's the best thing you can give the Lord. It's not your money. It's not, you know, you showing up on Sunday for church. The best thing you can give him is your time on a personal level. And the man that prays or the woman that prays, they're the ones that know who God is. You can't ask people if they're a Christian because everybody in the whole world is a Christian now. You have to ask them if they know God, and not just any God. Because, you know, as far as you go into the gas station and old boy with the turban behind the counter, he'll say, God bless you too, but he ain't talking about the God I serve.
Yeah,
You
that's a
know,
good point.
we need to be precise on who we're talking to, and people know exactly who we're talking about. You know, Jesus Christ. He's the Son of God, God the Father, the Holy Spirit. That's God, the Trinity. You know, and it takes all three.
Mom Survival just said, always remember as a prepper, we aren't fighting for victory. We're fighting from victory.
Amen.
He is for us. Who can be against us? Time to call this nation back to Christ. I totally agree. That is an awesome comment. Thank you. Yeah, man. I mean, it's just time to, I don't know how to explain it. Send your kids to school. Tell them it's okay to talk about Jesus. Doesn't matter if the school likes it or not. You know what I mean? They need to go in there. It's one thing to have church over here where Christians are at already, but we need to start getting the word out to people that aren't saved. You know,
You don't
people that
win
are living in the
souls in
world.
church. I mean, you win a small amount of souls in church.
Right.
But most of the people coming to church, they have already been saved, or they've come into your church from the church down the street, church hopping. That's not the ones we're after. I'm after the ones who are lost in sin. I'm after the ones who are living a life that is broken, and that I know God can reach down his hand and pull them out and pick them up and change their life and make it into something good so that they can become disciples and start telling other people. Because we got it all wrong. We think when we get saved that it's all about the blessings of God and what we can have and what God's going to give us, but that's not it. When I got saved, it wasn't about me anymore. It's about all these other ones that's out here. Our family, our friends, our co-workers, our neighbors. Do they know we're Christians? Are we teaching them? Are we testifying? It says that we're overcomers by the blood of the Lamb, by the word of our testimony, and that we love not our lives unto death. Preachers don't say that part, though. They leave the end part off. They don't want to say that we love not our lives to death. When he called Paul on the road to Damascus, he said that he was making him a vessel and that he was going to suffer the things for Christ. We're not suffering. If we go to church and the thermostat ain't right and the pew ain't padded and so-and-so doesn't say hello to me, we get mad and we go off and we do our own thing. But who cares about comfort? If I've got to be uncomfortable for a small amount of time in my life to tell you about Jesus and for him to change your whole life, then I'm willing to do that.
Even if it means offending people,
Exactly. And another thing I want to bring out is the church or Christians today, they're too eager to point out your sin and tell you what you're doing wrong, but they won't never stand with you and hold your hand or get down on their knees and pray with you while you're down. They're too busy finding fault and pointing their fingers. See, I'm not here to find you out. I want to help you through tonight, right? So if you're having a problem, whether it be an addiction, whether it be sickness, whether it be something in your family, whether it be financial, I want to hit my knees beside you and help you through it and glorify God through it.
Mad Max says, let's all pray for peace. Pray for my girls and my ex-wife. Jesus is the answer. He absolutely is. Thank you, Mad Max.
Amen. We got to stop worrying about offending people.
That's part of what's wrong, man. Is people are, they're scared to say it. They're scared to say it at work. They're scared to say it at school. They've conditioned us to be afraid. That's what we were talking about earlier. It's partially our fault for letting it get to this point,
Absolutely.
Well, that's, I hope you like me, right? We all want to be liked. I hope you do. I hope you say, hey, Rev, that's a cool cat right there.
That's a cool beard, Rev. I wish I had one like it.
The word says that I'm to preach the gospel of Jesus Christ without fear, favor, or compromise. And if you like me, that's great. But if you don't like me, so be it. Is that going to stop me from preaching Jesus Christ come in the flesh as the Son of God? He died for you on the tree to save you from your sin, and he rose on the third day. No, I'm never going to quit preaching that. I don't care what they say. And a lot of people try to say, well, jail this and jail that, or would you be willing to be persecuted? Persecution is good for the church. It was good then, it's good today.
Yeah, Jesus had haters, man. He didn't care.
Yep.
You okay up there, 6-shooter?
Yeah.
You ain't up past your bedtime, are you, man? I feel guilty if you are.
No, I'm good.
And we got to remember to pray for everybody, even the guy down the street we can't stand. You pray for them. And I about slipped up. Whatever you said about the guy at the gas station, the Arab, whatever, and pray for them too. Because we're all children of God.
Somebody just asked in the chat. They said hopefully that we could get along with secular preppers when everything went Mad Max. And the thing is, I personally don't have anything against anybody, secular or otherwise. it just, we pray for you and we hope that, God's going to do his thing. So, yeah, absolutely.
Well, because, I mean, if we didn't get along, if we did turn our backs on people, that means that we're not of God. That means we're not Christian. That means we're, you don't turn your back on people. You don't.
I'm no better than you, and you're no better than me.
Amen.
He died for me just as willing as he died for you. He's no respecter of persons, is what it says in the word.
Absolutely.
Preacher or no preacher, that don't matter.
Yep.
Yeah, Mad Max said we're all sinners. That's absolutely right. I know I slip up every now and then,
Well, one thing, Papa said that we're all children of God. And I don't see it that way. And I'm not trying to go against you, Papa, but look, a child of God has been born again and he is his child. Right?
Okay. We're all God's children. Because I know what you mean. I don't mean to cut you off, but I mean, but God made us all, is what I was getting at.
He did make us all. And I understood what you were saying, but I wanted to clarify that, like, we're not all God's children. If you haven't been, Jesus said, ye must be born again, and that no sin was going to enter into the gates of heaven. Okay? If you're not born again and washed in the blood of Jesus Christ, you are not God's child. And that is, like I said, you can like me for saying that, you cannot, but that's the truth about it. And as far as, a sinner and a saint, I used to be a sinner, but now I'm a child of God. And the difference in a sinner and a child of God is this: a sinner sins, loves to sin, keeps on sinning, never asks for forgiveness, don't care. A child of God, when and if he sins, come on, if he sins, it's what the word says. If he sins, then he repents of that sin, he turns away from it, and he doesn't do it anymore. That's the difference in a sinner and a child of God. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's a big thing. And, our nation or the gospel has taken this grace doctrine, and you can do whatever you want to do, and you never have to ask for forgiveness, and you never have to repent of sins. And the blood, you never hear anything about the blood of Jesus anymore, and that's a false doctrine. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, if you sin and that sin ain't under the blood and you die, you're not gonna make it. You're not gonna make it. You have to be born again. You have to repent of your sins. You have to repent of your sins.
Absolutely.
And I'm not talking about that 2-minute prayer we say before bedtime, just in case, because we've all been guilty of that.
I'm guilty of that sometimes still, yeah.
Yeah, lay down at nighttime, and for our bedtime, we can't even hardly hold our eyes open. We say our little 2-minute prayer and ask the Lord to forgive us, but we're just speaking out in the air. That's not true repentance. If you was really, truly sorry before God, you'd hit your knees and your eyes would be wet, and you'd mean business with God, and you turn away from those things, not go to sleep knowing you're going to do the same thing tomorrow when you wake up.
No, man, you're right. That's absolutely what this country needs too. It needs to hear truth like that, man.
Yep, that's exactly right.
Not enough of it being preached.
And I apologize for misspeaking when I said children of God.
You're fine, brother.
And I apologize to chat. No, chat. They let me know too, real quick.
No, man, I know what you're talking about. You're saying we're creating his image.
Yeah, that's what I meant. I don't want anybody, to think differently of me or whatever. I mean, that's what I meant.
And we miss the love, God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son. If you miss that, you've missed it all. It's not about, oh, you're a sinner and you're going to die and you're going to go to hell. A lot of times that might be true, but that's not the point I'm trying to make. The point is, Jesus Christ loves you so much, even in the state you're in, whether you're whatever sin, you know, and I don't have to name them. You know exactly what you're doing. It ain't right. He died for you in that state. When I was who I used to be, thugged out OG. Come on, y'all. When I was thugged out OG, had to fit it on, you know, putting the clouds in the air and all that other stuff. He died for me in my worst state. He loved me in my worst of worst. And he loved me so much that he went to the cross for me, shed his blood for me, was beat for me, was called names for me, and he rose for me, that I could be a new person, something different, changed to live a life that's holy.
Absolutely. We got somebody here in the green room, and let me see who it is. I think it's Selling Prepper. Let's get this brother in here. You've been waiting a while. Sorry about that, man.
Oh, that's fine. It's fine, John.
How you doing, man? So I know that you're an expert on two things: the conflicts going on right now around the world and cryptocurrency. Give it to us, man.
Well, cryptocurrency, I'll tell you, the best bet you can go with is Bitcoin. And right now it just fell, but that's a good thing. As far as the conflicts in the world, okay, so we're talking about Israel.
Yeah.
First of all, I'm going to tell you guys straightforward, I do not believe in Jesus Christ. Okay? So, with the things I'm going to say, before anybody says that I'm anti-Semitic, or you know what I mean. First of all, you're hearing this from somebody who's Jewish. You know, hence the phrase, I don't believe in Jesus Christ. Sorry, guys, that's just my religious beliefs. Okay? And I'm going to tell you the main difference between Christianity and Judaism. Okay? We believe in the first part of the Bible and don't believe the second part has happened yet. Okay? This might offend some of you guys, but as John knows, I don't care who I offend as long as I'm respectful about it.
Yeah, man. I try and be respectful of everybody's opinions. You know, I have my own and my own faith and everything, so I'm
just putting that out there, you know. You know, it's just not that I don't believe in God. I'm Jewish, okay? I was born that way. So, as far as over there, and this one's really gotten to me, okay? First thing you guys should know, being Jewish does not mean that you are Israel, okay? Being Israel and being Jewish, being over in the Holy Land does not mean anything, because there are people over there that are Muslim, Christians, and they are from there. It's a country, okay? It was made in the 1960s. Thousands of years ago, it belonged to my people, but it was around the 40s, 50s, 60s, somewhere around there, after World War II, when Britain, the UK, and everybody decided to give that to my people. Okay? They took it, I'm being honest, they took it from the Muslims that were there and kicked them out. Now, John, you are what I would consider an expert on Germany. 1942, right?
correct. Well, yeah.
Yeah. To some extent, you know quite a bit about it. Now, if I remember correctly, in Germany Nazi, there was some segregation, from what my great-grandparents and told my parents and my grandparents. I wasn't around back then, but I'm only going through what they went through by word of mouth. And it wasn't fun. Okay? So, going through that, did you know that the Muslims there, all right, the ones on the west side, all right, one thing is they're forced to carry papers proving what they are, where they are, and in their own communities, they cannot travel. Since this started, this was a armed, basically takeover. They were originally given a small area, and then they decided to take over a larger area. Not every Jewish person agrees with this. Okay? First of all, a real, like my father, okay, who's seriously Jewish, okay? I'm what you would consider, if you compare me, I'm someone who, as a child, went through it, but hasn't really gone to temple, kind of like a Christian who, when they were a child, their parents always took them to church, but they haven't gone in maybe 20 years. That kind of thing, okay? Now, real Jews do not believe that we should have a country because it's a religion. All right? That's the first thing. There are Christians who think that we should. All right?
Well, on this point, I guess my question is, when do you believe, you said when this first started, when do you believe this first started? Because I believe this has been going on for a very long time.
The actual fighting?
Well, they've been fighting for what? 2,000 years?
The actual fighting that's been happening, I would say since the 1960s.
This fighting been going on since biblical days, even in the Torah, in the law with Moses. It happened at Abraham, Ishmael, and Isaac. This fighting's been going on over the land.
Well, here's the thing, and this is actual history. If you want to look into it, yes, there was fighting in the biblical times, okay, but that stopped for thousands of years. This was 2,000 years ago when it started. But for thousands of years, my people weren't there. We scattered to all parts of the world. My parents and my grandparents came from Germany, not Jerusalem. Okay? This didn't happen until after the Britain decided and the United States decided, because both countries did decide, in the 60s or 50s, somewhere around there, I can't remember the exact time, after World War II, that they were going to give the Jewish people their own country. We weren't there anymore. We were there thousands of years ago. And if you guys really want to put this in the figure out here today,
I know what you're talking about, the meeting and the fact that they were giving, they were turning it into a nation state of Israel. But the question really is, were they giving them a country or were they giving them their country back? As in the original
I'm going to
Israel,
put that into a different phrase. Okay. All of you guys have lived wherever you've lived right now. Okay. It was a long time ago that a lot of the Native Americans were put on reservations, and we fought them for it. This is part of our history, right? So let's say for some reason World War III broke out, and at the end we lost, and China took over. And they decided to give all the Native Americans that are actually still here their country back. And even though we outnumber them, they kicked you out of your homes. They told you you're not allowed to go anywhere without papers. They restrict your water rights. All the Native Americans can have all the water they want, but you are restricted. You only get it 2 or 3 times a day. Let's say we go into a church, or Native Americans go into a church, a Native American, and wipes out 50 Christians. Okay? And let's say, because this has actually happened over there, let's say that they wipe out 50 Christians, only in this case it was a Muslim thing, and wipe out, 50 of them, or 20, whatever it was. Guy went in, killed a lot of them. A Jewish person actually killed a lot of them. After he did that, the Jewish community there literally said, well, this Jewish person wants half, or wants the church, wants this temple, so we're going to give them half of it, and they built a wall in between. This is what could happen to you guys if that were to happen. And that's what's happening over in Israel right now. Israel's a country that was made of, I don't know, in the 60s somewhere. 50s, 60s.
Well, see, I think
there was fighting going on where Israel
Palestinians-
actually took over more in the 70s.
I think the Palestinians are claiming that it was made during that time, that it was created, like you're saying. And again, I understand the meeting. I think the Israelis are saying that it was recreated because originally it was their land. I think that's their argument, at least. And that would go
you
back
get
to biblical
my
times.
point. If somebody literally kicked you guys all off, and like I said, I'm Jewish, okay, and I believe what my father said. My father said, we're not to own land, we're a religion. It's a country, okay?
God gave
in
the
America.
Jewish people, the Jewish nation, that land in the biblical Torah. He changed Jacob's name to Israel, and Israel
Yes,
became a
that's
nation.
true.
And then they was carried into bondage 3-4 different times, and they all went back to the nation of Israel. And then in 1948, we had them, a nation. And then all of the Jewish people, whether they're from Germany, and I'm not against you, brother, whether they're from Germany, Africa, wherever, they started flooding back to that land because it was God given.
Well, some did, yes. Some of us didn't. Actually, a lot of us didn't. There are a lot of Jewish communities here. Okay, all through the United States.
Oh, I know it.
I know, I grew up in them. And those of us that didn't generally stayed where we were because we don't believe that we should have. It's actually part of the religious belief that we're not supposed to have a country.
Is it a part of the Torah? Is it a part of what has been passed down generation to generation, the Talmud?
Well, due to the fact that I've only been able to read part of the Torah when I was going through my bar mitzvah, and that was a long, long time ago, because it is in ancient Hebrew, and I only knew a little. I was never very good at reading, period, let alone Hebrew. So what was told to me was passed down, but I do believe it is in the Torah at some point.
So are you a practicing Jew, or you just say you're Jewish?
I stopped practicing when I came age of reason.
Wow.
And it's like I compared it earlier to a Christian who basically, I mean, that doesn't mean I don't believe. All right. To a Christian who basically, gets up, maybe still prays a little here and there, but 90% of his time is work and everything else. And I was trying to compare that so you guys could get an idea of it, because I know a lot of people like that. They go about their day, they might still believe, but they no longer go to church, they no longer do all the other stuff.
Yeah, that's fair. I know some people like that. That's fair.
So I would say I'm like that. My father, however, he's really strict with this stuff, so he beat a lot of this in my head.
So
Okay.
just to ask,
the-
because I don't know this, Selling Prepper, do you believe in heaven and hell?
To an extent, yes.
And I'm curious how you think you're getting there if you're not a believer in Jesus. I mean, I truly don't know. I'm not trying to offend you.
The law.
Hang on a second. Someone's trying to call me out. Just give me 1 second. I gotta ignore it. Oh, come on. Leave me alone for a minute. I might be kicked out of the chat. Hang on.
They believe that they're going to get there by the law that was written on the
Okay, I'm
tablets that Moses got off of the Mount Sinai, You know, Jewish people, practicing Jewish people, they live their life by the law, the first 5 books of the Torah, and all of the prophets.
Yes, you are correct.
And Messianic Jews believe in
My
Jesus
father
Christ.
is really strict, like I said.
So that would be the way that you're trying to seek going to heaven if you believe that there's a heaven.
Point where we believe that first of all, we don't call him Jesus Christ. We call him the Messiah.
Yeshua.
And like I said, this was all when I was a kid. All right, my father would be really pissed if he kept track of me, but that's personal stuff. The point that I'm making is, if you look at the Jewish religion, we don't believe in the second part of the Bible. We believe in the First Testament. Okay? So anything in the First Testament you could pretty much take. We do not believe that the Messiah had come yet.
The whole Old Testament is a shadow of Jesus Christ dying on the cross for the remission of sins. You know, explain Isaiah 34. Explain, all of these things, like Abraham going and taking his son Isaac and offering him as a sacrifice, his only son. And then a ram being in the bush, that's a picture of Jesus. All of these stories in the Bible, they point to Jesus Christ. And I'm not trying to offend you as far as you're wrong and I'm right. That has nothing to do with it. The biggest thing is, Jesus is the Messiah. And, if we were reading the word like we say we are or whatever, we would see that. How can we miss the Messiah in that type of way? And when we read in the Torah, how can you miss that? Or in other words, why don't you believe that Jesus Christ was the Messiah?
In my personal case, that's the way I was taught. Okay? But to explain it to the best of my ability with the way more people that are more strict with it, like I said, I'm not practicing like my father. If I brought my father on here, if we were talking, he would go left and right with you on how it works and this and that a lot better than I ever could. Okay? But, the way I put it is, it's not a debate over is there a Messiah. It's a debate, has the Messiah come yet? Have we reached that part yet?
He fulfilled all the prophecy. There wasn't a bone broken. He was born in Bethlehem. All the sacrificial lambs was born in Bethlehem. He went to the cross. They give him water. They didn't pierce. He pierced his side, and blood and water come out. They parted his clothes in front of him. The veil was rendered. I mean, it's all prophecy that was showed in the Old Testament that Jesus Christ was the Messiah. It's history. We was talking about history earlier, and if you go back in the history, even secular history shows the temple. It shows, Jesus and the cross. It shows all of those things. It shows the tomb. He has come. Jesus Christ is the Messiah.
Like I said, it's a hard thing to argue on both accounts, regardless. If you're not if you're not like my father was, okay, and I'm not like him, not in that sense.
So sailing, just to jump in here real quick, what are your thoughts like moving forward on Israel, the stuff that's happening there now, and how do you see it playing out?
Israel has three options here. Okay? They can look themselves in the face and go, this is a shameful thing that we're doing. Okay? And we're not going to be like the United States. And some of you are patriots, but I will explain it in the best way I can. In other words, they're not going to go down like we've gone down a 10-year war on terror. Okay? And a lot of innocent people have gotten hurt for that. Americans and Muslims both. Now, if they really want to basically have peace there, they need to turn it into one country where everybody is equal rights. They have the power to do that. Treating the people right there, whether they believe the same beliefs or not, would actually be a start. Straight up, you guys, I've heard you guys 1,000 times, and you've all told me you would not deal with half of the stuff because you're worried about it happening here, but you never put it two to two together with this, that's what the Israel is doing with these Muslims. Okay?
And
the fact
the
of the matter
1,200 plus
is I do know
rockets that
people
have been
from
fired in
on both
Israel.
sides.
The 1,200 plus rockets that have been fired into Israel. How do we deal with that?
That is a terrorist group. There's a difference between a terrorist group and a country.
I understand that. But these people allow these terrorists to embed themselves in Gaza, correct?
Well, let me ask you this. All right. If you have someone breathing down your neck left and right, all right, kind of like you guys are worried about right now, right here, we're all been worried that stuff like what's has been happening to these people would happen here, okay? And the only people willing to fight for you are terrorists. One person's terrorist could be another person's freedom fighter. And in this case, that's how those people feel. I don't agree with the terrorism. I don't agree with the rockets. I don't think there should be fighting on either side. Another thing is actually how this started, from what I was told. And this is that the Israel military, who, by the way, are not just Jewish people. There's a lot of Christians in there. There's a lot of Muslims in there. But only the Jewish people are given the rights there. Okay? Israel is considered a country now. And you don't have to be Jewish to live there and be part of that country. So that's the one thing I want to clear up. And you don't have to be anti-Semitic, or I can never say that word, but you know what I'm trying to say. To be against what Israel's policies are, because you're against policies of a country, not policies of a people or a religion. Okay?
Yeah. No, I understand. So, I'm saying, how do you deal with it then? If you have terrorists,
you deal with it by making their lives a little better and integrating the people.
So you give the terrorists what they want, basically?
Not the terrorists. If they're terrorists, if they're actually doing that, you put them to prison, you charge them. But the people are less likely to hide somebody who's bombing you if you're less likely to refuse the person water. They only get water twice a week. If you go to the East Bank with the Jewish side, they're watering forests and pine trees. But yet, these people barely get anything to wash but once or twice a week, sometimes 3 if they're lucky. And then they take the water from those people and charge them outrageous prices. If you have somebody who is Jewish and they walk into a temple of whatever they believe in, and the guy kills 15, 20, whatever number of them, You don't give the guy half the thing, you charge him with murder. If you have that and you have a legitimate, fair system, the people are less likely to hide the terrorists. That's how you weed out the terrorists.
I understand what you're saying. I'm just trying to figure out how you want the basics like water, and yet you have thousands of rockets that you're shooting. Like, where are the rockets coming from? These things aren't cheap.
They come from out of the country. They're smuggled in. You have people like Al-Qaeda, ISIS, different terrorist groups that smuggle them in.
So these people, in my opinion, are the problem then, not Israel.
Yes, I agree. They are a good portion of a problem. But all right, let's say, how do I put it? If you have somebody who's coming to your door, beating your kids, beating you every day, refusing you food, water, shelter that you could pay for, but won't let you even get the goods to pay for it, and somebody's fighting on your behalf, whether they're doing it the wrong or right way, you're going to protect those people. But if they're causing you problems and the government that's around that's in charge is actually treating you right, and you can go out and buy your goods or your services, you're not going to protect a criminal at that point. They're no longer helping you.
Somebody asked in chat, no matter what happens, do you think the Muslims over there will ever respect Israel and the Jewish people over there and their rights?
Believe it or not, a lot of the Muslims over there don't complain. There are a lot that do, but a lot don't even complain with what they deal with. So yes, you could have peace and you could have it if you made it one country, not a two-party system, one country where everybody was treated fairly. And that's all I'm saying. If you were treating everybody fairly, you'd have less likely of a problem.
Only time peace gonna be in Israel is when Jesus Christ sits his feet down and he declares he's king, and every tongue and every knee is gonna bow and confess that he is Lord, he is the Messiah. And I know that you don't believe that way, but I hope that you do before that day.
Amen.
Papa, somebody in the chat said you look like you need a hug. Just saying, man.
I'm good.
Free hugs.
On a religious point, yes, but on a political point, on a person-to-person point,
that is political.
You need more.
He said the government's going to rest on his shoulders. That's political.
Like I said, on a
that's
religious
government.
Point.
That's religious. It's all in the same deal. He's going to be the government. He's going to be God. He's going to be the Messiah, which he is now. He's Lord over all. Whether you're a Christian, you're a Jew, or you're a Muslim, he's still God. You just haven't accepted him.
But until the time comes that he actually makes everything, what you said, and the fighting stops, then what I said is probably the best bet, in my opinion.
I don't think the fighting's ever going to stop in the Middle East.
Stop.
I think there's a fundamental difference, and this is just my opinion, between the Jewish people and the Muslims over there. I think a lot of it is religious.
I'm friends with a lot of Muslims. I'm friends with a lot of Jewish people. I'm friends with a lot of Christians. And I'm going to tell you something that everybody wants, regardless what you believe. I don't care what side of the religion you're on. Every single person wants this except for a few radicals. Okay? Everybody wants to raise a family, have a good woman, have their kids, and live a decent life. 90% of the people on this planet, I don't care where you're from. I don't care if you're Russian. I don't care if you're Japanese, Chinese, Hindu, whatever you believe. The one thing that everybody seems to want is, except for politicians and some radicals out there, okay? Everybody else seems to want those basic things. They want to live a good life, protect their family, and have their basic needs and enjoy life. I don't care who you're talking to. If you actually get to know people, you'll realize they all want the same thing. You get some radical idiots out there that want something else. You're going to get politicians, for whatever reason, they always want war. And you're going to, that's pretty much how it works everywhere in the world. 90% of the people on this planet, I'll even give you a little 80%.
No, that's fair, and people deserve that. But the problem is, in my opinion, these radicals you're talking about, they don't want Jesus. They don't want Christians. That's why a lot of this conflict,
and a lot of that comes from Saudi Arabia. Matter of fact, 90% of that actually comes from Saudi Arabia.
The point is, why do they want the land? They're bombing Israel because they want the land. Why?
Because they were born there. And their grandparents were born there. They've lived there for 2,000 years. And they're being evicted. And they're being pushed out of their own home. And they're being extinguished. This almost is the same as the Holocaust to some extent. Or to what we did to the Native Americans. And yes, they're fighting back in a really bad way and in ways they shouldn't do. But giving the options. And they're supporting some radicals. There's radicals on both parts. There are a lot of Jewish people I disagree with about this.
Personally,
and there are a lot of Muslims I disagree with about this.
Between the Holocaust and what's going on over there, because the people in the Holocaust in Germany, they didn't do anything. Like they didn't fight, they didn't retaliate, they did nothing wrong.
A lot of the Muslims
these people are harboring terrorists. They're allowing these they know that. Look, you said they're smuggling these rockets in. That takes people on the ground to do.
But that's
There's
not
no
everybody.
Way people don't see this happening. You don't smuggle 1,200 rockets into a country and nobody sees it. They know these rockets are there. They know what they're going to be used for.
But again, that's not everybody there. There are a lot of innocent people there. A large amount of them are innocent. The 2-year-old that was holding onto her mother, that was burned alive, was an innocent.
I understand that. They're going to be innocent people in any conflict.
True. But like I said, if they want peace, if people want peace there, then both sides have to understand that the fighting has to stop. And in the process of both sides have to understand that, they also have to give each other respect, too. That means treating each other fairly.
What's it going to take for them to stop fighting, though?
Well, for one thing, how about some water? More than just once or twice a week. How about the ability when they have shipments come in for a business, even American businesses, if it's on the west side, governments will hold their goods for 2 to 3 years. There's a lot of bad stuff going on both sides. Not just, and I'm not just saying this is all Jewish happening. There's a lot of bad stuff because then the retaliation's even worse. The bombings and everything and the rockets. Forget the rockets. How about the bombings that happened beforehand on the east side where they had car bombs and stuff? This is all bad. I don't deny that, and I don't disagree with that part. There are bad on both.
Liz said 6-shooter, please start singing now. Something peaceful.
I'm sorry, this was a touchy subject. I am a little emotional about it.
I understand and I'm respectful. I don't personally understand how you sneak that many rockets into a country and you can't seem to get water into that country. I don't see that as being the reason this is going on.
I'll ask you this, because I'm not a professional on sneaking stuff into a country. Okay? But I will ask you this, all right? How do prisoners get shanks and weapons and things in prison?
Keystone.
You know, I
Big
mean,
Easter.
if there's got to be ways to do it, people figure stuff out.
They keister them in.
You know,
You ain't
big
seen that
country.
movie, I guess.
Big country. I'm sure they found a keister to bring it in.
Prepper Brian Keith. Okay, prepare yourselves. We all about to be on the list now that he's here.
Oh, come
How you
on.
doing,
You know
brother?
you like lists. Don't we all like lists? How is everybody doing?
Good, man. You got any commentary on this?
I got a lot. I was doing a lot of typing and stuff too, especially watching a lot of the chat going along. I know, you know, Sailing, I can say I have a lot of respect for you. I know there may be some people angered because of you speaking out, you know, because you're Jewish or Judaism. You know, I still have respect for you. I still pray for you. You know, we're supposed to still stand with you, even if you don't respect this or that or don't understand it, and you don't practice it anymore as your father would. I don't know. It's just I'm watching a lot of people getting angry. I'm thinking, but everybody needs to let go of the anger and just, you know, as I've learned, just give it to God. You know, we all should still be working together. You know.
Exactly, I agree with you.
I mean,
if they did that over there, there'd be a lot more happiness.
Well, that's what I was trying to tell everybody down there. I was sitting there watching a chat, and everyone's like, you know, oh, you know, we love God and Christian and this and that. And then when you come on and saying, you know, talking about your Judaism, you know, you're Jewish, some people don't believe in what the religion is practiced here. So it doesn't matter whether we think that or not, or oh, well, that's not right. It doesn't matter. Like the Bible says, and even in Isaiah, God's people, God's heart is with you, whether you practice it or not. And in the end, even at the end of the tribulations, the Jewish people will be the ones that will be saved, the 144,000. I think everybody is forgetting that. The angels are going to come and the Messiah is going to come and save you guys, whether you're saved or not, you know. It says it right in the end.
144,000 Jews are preachers that go
But
out.
how do we know?
It says it in the Word. You go in Revelations and read it. There are 144,000 Jews that go out and they preach to the Jewish nation that Jesus Christ is the Messiah, and that's all going on during the tribulation.
But what can we say that he's not going to be able to see that light? I mean, watching everybody's faces and, you know, kind of judging them. Didn't God say, or Jesus say, judge not lest ye be judged, and if you do judge them, you'll be judged the same?
We're supposed to judge on character. We'll know them by their fruits, is what it says.
Judge them by the spirits, yeah. Yeah. But aren't we supposed to help those also?
Well, I ain't come against a man. I didn't
say you were coming against. I'm just watching everybody's reactions. Like everybody's getting all ticked off and stuff. And I'm thinking, you know,
yeah,
he's gonna be
in the chat. There were a few people that said selling preppers had a really good point, and then there were a lot of people, you know, they ain't too happy about it.
If the word tells us to stand with Israel, how are we not standing when we're coming against this man? You know, does that make us not any better than anybody else?
You know, he said Israel shouldn't even be a nation. That it's not.
That's his opinion.
and that's a lot of Jewish people's opinion too.
Yeah, there's a lot of Jewish people that think like
belief.
It's sad. I mean, we can say it's sad. I mean, we have to understand that this world is definitely not perfect, and that's why God did come. You know, whether he believes the Lord came or not, he'll find out in the end, as we all will. We'll all stand before the great white throne. But, you know, we should still be, understandable, you know. Try to, just pray for them. You know, it's the same thing as you would somebody else that you wanted to go to church with you, but they don't. You pray for them. You know, we don't have anger towards them. We don't have disappointment. You know, we try to have understanding, pray to God, and maybe someday God will reach into his heart and say, Sailing, I love you. You're my son. You're my blood. You know. But until that day, I don't know. I'm just watching the chat thinking, damn, everybody just takes a chill pill.
Well, the chat was fine, yeah.
It's not that I don't believe in God. I just have a different belief of it.
Exactly. You know, it's just how you were raised. You know, we're all raised the same way. You know, some people were raised, Baptist. Some people were raised Christian. I believe myself. I don't believe in a denomination. I believe in just the word, being a follower of Christ. That's exactly what Jesus wanted, is just to follow his words, follow his message, listen to God's commandments, be saved, be baptized, preach to the world. You know.
One of the things that I disagreed with, Sailing, and you did make some good points, but I disagree with. I understand where you're coming from, where if you improve people's situation, they're more likely to live in peace. But in that situation, I don't think they will. I don't think the extremists will ever be satisfied. They don't want people to know about Jesus over in that area.
Well, I'll agree with you partly on that. I don't believe the extremists will be satisfied either. But I do believe the people that are not extremists will stop protecting the extremists.
It's going to be like that till the end of time.
That's a possibility. I don't know the future. I don't think any of us really do.
Well, I know in the Bible it speaks after all of this, the tribulation and, God's wrath, and after that it'll be 1,000 years of peace, pretty much in a nutshell, if you want to put the whole Bible together at the end.
Yeah.
We'll finally have peace, but until that happens...
into plowshares. It says that the weapons will be beat into plowshares, but he doesn't believe that. He doesn't believe that Jesus is going to come and set up a kingdom, is what I'm trying to say. It doesn't have anything to do with me trying to...
You misunderstand me. I said I don't believe he came yet. The Messiah came yet. That means that the Messiah is yet to still come. All that is still to happen.
Yeah, it's in the Bible that his people don't believe that Jesus was the Messiah. I mean, it's even in the Word.
It came in my own, received him not.
But we still must pray for him, right? We still must stand.
Oh, I stand with Israel 100%. Yeah. Jesus was a Jew. He said he come to fulfill the law, not to do away with it. And what he did is he took the law that was written on the tablets of stone and he wrote it on the hearts of men and women inside through the Spirit of God and the fire of the Holy Ghost.
Yeah, I know what the first commandment of what Jesus was saying in Matthew was that to love God with all your heart, and the second commandment is to love thy neighbor
as you love yourself.
Yep.
Yep.
Again, John, like I said, sorry, this was a very stressful day and a stressful subject.
That's okay, man.
Usually, I don't come up here and bring up anything with religion.
No, man, all opinions are welcome here, as long as they're respectful, man. But like I said, I just think that they've been at it for 2,000 years, on and off, and it ain't going to stop.
Yeah.
Maybe you're right. Maybe you're wrong. I don't know. I just believe that if you give people better livelihood, that people in general will make better choices.
That's fair enough.
Well, I can know. I'll tell you, Sailing. I was say, I know. Yeah. I tell you, I will be praying for you. Someday you'll see the light. Someday, I think God will speak to you. Maybe not yet, but soon.
Well, like I said, either way, whether it happens, doesn't happen, whatever the situation is, I believe at some point he did, but, it was a little different. Didn't expect on defending that. And I mean, like I said, the only reason I opened the fact that I was Jewish was to make you guys understand I'm not against being Jewish or anybody being Jewish. I'm against the policies of Israel. And that's policies of a bad country. Not saying all the people in Israel are bad, but the politicians, just like we have here, our politicians make a lot of bad choices.
Lots.
Yeah, are you going to find any country that's going to have perfect policies? I mean, I thought we were doing pretty all right with Trump, and now we have Biden. We're definitely screwed.
Well, you think we're doing worse now, Prepper Brian Keith?
Yeah, I know, right? Oh, shit, I just got put on a list.
But yeah, regardless of religion, I mean, the political aspect of this, I'm just the policies alone that they're enforcing. My grandfather would be rolling in his grave because my grandfather, my father, they don't believe that we should be doing anything like that to other people. Like it or not, whether they're good to us or bad to us.
Yeah.
And they went through the Holocaust.
Yeah, it even does, if I remember right, said in what I forgot what verse in Corinthians, where it even Paul's even speaking about having charity for others, even if they do the most bad, worst deed to you, have charity and forgive them.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't fight love.
Well, from what I understood, there's a difference between charity and love, because love can always be, well, I love that, but I don't disagree. Oh, charity is just what? Pure love, pure God's love.
Agape love.
Yeah. Yeah.
6-shooter, Papa Prepper, you guys got anything to add, man?
I was going to jump in here real quick and just thank you for having me on here. I'm going to bounce out of here because I'm starting to zone out, man.
I appreciate you coming over, man. I know it's tough streaming
before.
and then jumping over here.
Yeah, I haven't stopped since I got up this morning, man. Tilling done and plants in the ground, and it's going on midnight, and I am tired. I'm done for the day, but
I appreciate it, man.
so
Appreciate
just
you
thank you
coming
for having
out.
me. Great company. God bless y'all, and I'll see you next time, guys.
See you later, Papa.
See you, buddy.
You have a good
6-shooter,
one,
man.
Prepper.
Yeah.
Your eyes open up there? You want to play us something? Or?
Yeah, I reckon I can do that.
All right. Liz is still waiting, man.
I don't know if she was still in here or not.
Oh, yeah.
Not sure.
It's a good thing I didn't read the chat.
You didn't broke out the guitar.
Close enough. I wondered again, am I home in the mountains, where you certainly know I was happy and free. I look for my friend, but I never could find them. I found their road.
I found a
Strangers to me.
great stranger to me.
Everybody I met.
Sing be a ring stranger. Mother that
Could I see? They knew not my name.
they knew not my
They
name,
knew not their faces.
and knew not their faces.
Found they were all
I found they were all
strangers to me.
strangers to me.
Very good, man. Thank you.
Appreciate
Do you
it.
guys have anything else to add tonight? I know it's been all over the place.
Yeah, I got on here late.
I saw you in the chat, though.
I was getting supper made for
I got
for the
something
wife.
to ask you.
Go ahead.
Did you ever check out the Five Eyes thing?
I did. Yeah. It was a meeting, correct?
No. Well, it's kind of a meeting. The Five
They're
Eyes
like
Alliance is.
five figureheads.
You
I
look
think.
into it enough. It has a lot of different countries in it, and like I said, they're not out looking at the Middle East. They're not out looking at China. They're watching us.
Oh, I don't doubt that a bit. Yeah.
Of course, we're what the star of the world. With America falls, you know that everybody else is going to.
We're on the fast track.
Yeah.
You turn it around, man.
Well, not just America, but like it's basically 5 major nations that literally have it set up so that governments will spy on their own people and set their own people up and do a lot of horrible things. Like I said, Hillary Clinton, Biden, Obama at one point was all part of it.
Six Shooter, do you have any streams coming up you want to let people know about?
Well, first off, I appreciate everybody following and subbing and supporting me, and we finally hit the 1,000 mark. And
that's awesome.
I'll be
Congrats.
Live streaming again Monday night, and I'll be doing the giveaway first thing. I'll be using that random comment picker like you use, and the video is still up. We hit a 1K, I think it's called, but if you go there and comment, then you'll be entered in on the giveaway, and I'll be doing that first thing Monday night stream is doing the giveaway.
What about you, Rev? You doing any preaching online this week?
Well, I'm gonna have a video uploaded tomorrow from my service tomorrow at 11 at church, and then Tuesday night I'm gonna go live at 8:30.
Awesome.
And in case anybody's wondering, I haven't gotten a video uploaded in like forever. I've been so freaking busy at home. So sometime I'm working on one right now. So plus I just got a new job, filed the paperwork today, did my tax forms. So I'm gonna be a part-time janitor. Yay!
Did they fall on the floor when you applied for the job?
Which ones? The wife or the boss?
The boss. Employers can't get people to apply right now. When you came in and said, I'd like to apply for a job, did they fall on the floor?
Actually, well, kind of. She was happy. She was happy on the phone. And she was like, "Oh, right, really?" She's like, "Yeah, I'll definitely hire you." Because she was like, "Well, how much janitor experience have you had?" And I was like, "Well, I used to be a janitor for the school district, for Hutchinson High School for a while, and I also did Dillon Stores, for a little while pushing the machine." She's like, "Oh," she's like, "Well, that's good enough." She's like, "When can you start?" And I was like, "Oh, geez, really? I didn't even fill out the application." I just called her.
Selling Prepper, you got any videos coming out or anything, man, on your channel?
Nothing planned until I get to the boat. I'm having some issues that I didn't expect. One of which is I have to set an appointment to go into the DMV because I got to be able to get it registered. Insurance and all that, not a problem, but I didn't register because it's been landlocked for the last year. And
you should live stream that whole thing going into the DMV. That'd be hilarious.
If they let me, I will.
Well, just take your phone and snap it to your chest or like hang it on your shirt, like you're just how you put it on your pants on the side of your belt. Put it like on your shirt and just have it record. And I've done that walking through Walmart. Especially when people are touching their mask, I was recording it and I put it on one of my videos.
Hey, John.
Yeah.
Do you have free time after this today?
Free time?
Yeah, I still wanted that one-on-one with you if I ever got the chance.
Yeah, I've got to film the premiere, and then I will. It's 11:45 here, so I've still got to film tomorrow morning's premiere.
All right. Well, there's always time.
Yeah. All right, we're going to shut it down. Thanks, everybody that was in the chat. Thank you, all of the guests. I see Bill thumbs up and there in the green room. All right, you guys have a blessed night.
Yeah, you guys too. I'll pray for everybody. Take care, guys.